And you're watching Redacted. This episode is brought to you by Antlion Audio. We have a giveaway happening with them right now for a Superlux headset with the Antlion mod mic, both adapters, an Uber mouse pad, all kinds of cool stuff. It's free to enter. Exclamation point headset in chat, or go to antlionaudio.com and check out their blog. Hey guys, how's it going?
What's up?
What's going on?
What's going on? I forgot to add Jeremiah Lee, so I'm trying to remove an emote for him.
No, I've not unmuted myself. No.
I remember.
Board's here. Jeez.
The D's nuts guy's gone.
So a couple other things
I must really like him.
that I want to jump into before we start off with the podcast and very quickly go through what we've been through this week.
Saurus, we've started the podcast.
It's too late.
You can't go back in
It's too late.
time and restart the podcast.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. We have the Redacted shirts on right now. I don't know the command in this channel. What is it?
Exclamation point R store.
He's got it. So we have the Redacted shirts. They're brand new as of last week. And we decided over the weekend that when we do any events moving on forward, this is your ticket into those events. So feel free to check those out. They come in mail, are men's and women's, and ship all over the world. And once a month, they go on sale for $14 during a mystery time. So definitely check those out. And we also have our Patreon for Redacted, which helps us as the podcast run the website and the emails and all the advertising and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah, we
So
got plans. We got plans for Redacted, and we need your Patreon money.
But the t-shirts help too, so the t-shirts go to support that as well.
also go to support
Both
that
things.
as well. Yes. So if you want to support the podcast and the team, this is the place to do that, and that's exclamation point Patreon in chat. So
Yeah,
moving forward, really quickly, Twerk, what did you get up to this last week?
I went to CitizenCon, did all the good stuff, met all the people. I can't possibly say everyone's name. I literally was trying to go through Twitter and see people's names, and I forgot people's names. So, and like people like that I spent a lot of time with because I was just tired. But it was really fun. I did a vlog that we're watching right now, so you can see that on my YouTube channel. I also have a sub badge contest going. So the sub badges are changing. Where you see the little Twerk logo there. There's going to be 5 different logos for 1 month sub, 3 month sub, 6 month sub, 1 year sub, and 2 year sub. And I'm putting up a $5 either Steam or Star Citizen gift card up to you to make your own little logos there. And if you need any additional, like if you need some of my own art assets, just let me know. And I have a little doc for it. All right, cool.
I already know what you need to do.
Yeah, you know exactly what I need. So.
Your logo is, I think, is going to be easier. I have no idea what I'm doing with mine. But
yeah, it's hard.
Is hard.
There were some interesting ideas out there for that.
This is true.
Yeah,
this is true.
That's what I've been up to.
Right on. And Boredgamer. Now, unfortunately, you weren't able to make it out to CitizenCon, but that doesn't mean you haven't been busy.
I mean, no, but it also is true that I haven't been busy. No. Yeah, so obviously I've been watching all of the coverage for CitizenCon and stuff as well. And to be honest, that's why we're only doing a quick what we've been up to, because we want to get into that in a second. But
yeah,
I've actually been planning some non-Star Citizen content,
Okay.
like Terraria, 7 Days to Die and stuff. Hopefully, possibly getting some CIG employees to play with me if they're available. Things like that.
Ooh.
So I want to start to build a little bit of a community, not just around Star Citizen, but mainly around Star Citizen. I'm going to be doing some work on the Star Engine soon, just a proper big video looking at all of what the Star Engine could be used for, because for me, it's become like Source has, and obviously Source was Half-Life 2, and that got adopted by so many things, and I'm hoping that Star Engine does as well. Me and myself, I've been suffering from terrible insomnia because of CitizenCon, because I streamed afterwards, and I was up until 6 a.m., and I can't sleep now.
And all that timing's, throwing you off, eh?
Yeah, almost as much as if I had travelled to America and come back. And other than that, I'm planning to do some more budgety Star Citizen PC stuff, because they were talking about how the Star Engine worked and what they planned for it. So it will scale up to 16 threads. So I can make a budget PC for like $80 for 16 threads. That would be pretty sexy. So I want to do stuff like that. But other than that, I've just been watching you guys vlog and be at CitizenCon and just been generally quite jealous. It's my jealous face.
Well, yeah.
But you vampired all the views, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that was beautiful because all of your like viewer base, and everyone else is because everyone was there pretty much other than me, Muggins here and Matachi. So we were like, have all these views, nom 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 nom. All the viewers coming along, having to watch our stuff. You had to watch us.
You had no choice.
Yeah. So thanks for that, guys. Appreciate it. I had like 2,500 views, on Twitch.
Well, that's awesome.
On CitizenCon. It was pretty good. I mean, I didn't know such a number existed. I could only count to 7.
How'd you follow that chat?
Like I do normally. I totally ignored the
You
chat.
just ignored it completely.
Twerk said I was like a superstar streamer in the fact that he think that I acted too cool for chat. And it's not that, it's just that I can't read. There's just too much going on. If there was just 2 people in chat, I'd get through half of it. I'm the worst. Anyway, Saurus, what about you? Let's get on.
Well, yeah. For me, I was obviously streaming from CIG LA, which was really, really awesome. And a huge shout out to CIG for inviting me down to do that. It was a lot of fun.
So what does CIG do? Who are these CIG?
Who are these guys?
Who are these guys? Obviously, hanging out with everybody, all the devs, all the fans, the other content creators, being able to meet a lot of the rest of the team, and other content creators outside of the team that we haven't met before, like Gamble and Sophie Girl and everybody. There's just too many people to name. My highlight, and I'm gonna ask you, Twerk, really quickly what your highlight for CitizenCon was. My highlight was meeting Forrest and him asking me to be my best friend, and then continuing to ask me every.
Was your highlight meeting him or the experience that you had with him?
It was the Forrest experience with him, where he would be like, "Yo, let's be besties. We watch you all the time. Da da da. Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Vancouver." He's like, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you should move down to LA and all this other stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, let's be besties." He's like, "So, bro, where are you from?" I'm like, "Vancouver." He's like, "Yeah, I got a buddy who has a band up there. I go up there all the time. That's really awesome." And we started talking about what type of music and whatever. And he's like, "Man, you're awesome. Let's do a couple of shots." So we do a couple shots of tequila. And he's like, "So anyways, bro, where are you from?" And it happened like at least 10 times minimum. And then I'm like, "Yo, you should introduce yourself to Twerk." And I bring Twerk over, and he does one of these. "Hey, what's going on, man?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry," and just back into his thing. And then it was Jeremiah's responsibility to watch him. And in 15 minutes,
alive?
he disappeared. And I don't know if he's alive. I hope he's watching this right now.
Yeah, Jeremiah's here, so we can find out if he made it to work today.
So we'll just have to wait and see. Also, a quick question for everybody in chat. Just type 1 if the audio levels are good, just because I can't hear myself right now. The way that I have this set up, it doesn't go through my mixer.
And also say if Twerk or me need to be louder.
Yeah, if they need to be louder or whatever, let us know.
Forrest is alive and well.
Forrest is alive. Good. That's good.
Congrats, dude.
We were worried. I did want to party with him at the after party, but he disappeared. He was like a ninja.
That's how I am when I get really drunk. I'm like, okay, I'm gone. And I just disappear.
And for people that kept on asking, I will 100%, unless like my legs explode, go to the Frankfurt CitizenCon. I will. I promise. I'll man up.
I'm already figuring out ways for me to go. So we'll see.
Have to meet everyone, don't I?
Yeah, man.
Have to be best buds with Forrest as well. Clearly. Don't know where I'm from. 8 times in a row.
Ready to do this? This is the longest and the most time I've ever spent setting up a doc for the podcast.
Yeah,
this is gonna be a good one.
I'm loud.
We got lots
apparently.
Lots
okay,
to
that
discuss.
means you guys need to be louder.
Because Saurus can't be loud.
Yeah.
We can also put him a little.
I can turn up my boost if you want. On
No,
my
no,
mic.
no, no, no,
I'm sorry.
no, no. I just changed it on my mic. Ah! Just yell
I'm
at
afraid to
people.
yell.
Just yell at people.
Yeah,
everyone, if we don't get around to answering your questions this week, or we just do a lightning round for questions at the end, just be aware it's because CitizenCon happened and there's lots to go through. But please ask your questions anyway.
That being said, !! question in chat if you have any questions for us. And we will answer those, hopefully, at the end. But yeah, let's start off with the CitizenCon. We're going to jump right into what happened at CitizenCon. We're going to skip over any of the stream stuff that I did or any of that stuff. I'll cover that on my own channel after this. So CitizenCon, the first thing they launched it off with was the I'm a Star Citizen video. Now, unfortunately, I was supposed to be in that, but I just didn't have time to jump into it.
Me too, Saurus.
They're
I was
pulling
supposed to be in it
everybody
as
in.
well. I just didn't have time.
Didn't have time.
I had time.
Yeah, we saw.
That was seriously though. That was one of my favorite parts of the show, but not because I was in it. It was just really, really well done.
There you are, right there.
We put a lot of work into it, into this game, and a lot of time, and I don't know. I felt a part of it, right? But it's cool. I don't know. It felt good. They did it really, really well done. They put the community together with the devs, and we all feel together making the project on this thing. I don't know. I got emotional when seeing it. Gives me chills. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it was really good. And I think when we were watching it there as well, just because of the way that the audio was set up and the way the hall was, it was just more intense, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And like when your favorite streamer popped up, like I'm cheering when I see
Pictures of
when
yourself.
I saw Baron and Flint and stuff, and to hear the cheers around the crowd for all it was cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
No, it was really
I
cool.
couldn't tell if people cheered for me because Gamble was screaming in my ear when he saw me.
Dude, people were definitely cheering for you. I know I was. I was freaking out.
Yeah, it was cool.
Happening.
So I don't know. It was a really cool event, and this was a great way to start it, I thought. You get emotional, Saurus? Or bored when you saw this?
I don't really get emotional for stuff like that.
I
thought it was really cool, but I wasn't like tearing up or anything.
Do you know what I was doing throughout that? I was waiting for my one to come up. Didn't appear. I was like, oh, well, that's a lovely community without me. I'll just go leave. I'll just leave, shall I? Thanks.
I didn't know you did one, so you must have did one after me.
Maybe my mind just slipped to the bottom. It was so good.
Yeah, nobody cared anymore.
I didn't use it.
By the time you did it, nobody cared.
You might need to send a little email to Cameron and just be like, so what happened?
I wanted to be a part of that event.
Yeah.
Just with like a tag, salt. Salt.
Yeah.
Salt.
Yeah.
It was a cool thing, and I liked the fact they made it about the community, the first bit, so that was cool.
Yeah, and the editing and everything was really well done, and it was put together really awesome, and yeah, like it was very impactful at the theater for sure. I had Twitch chat open as well, so I was sitting there with Jeremiah watching it, and I had Twitch chat open just so we could watch Twitch chat at the same time, and the same thing, just like people were cheering. People were spamming people's emotes when they were coming up and all that other stuff as well. It was really cool. The first thing that they showed for actual content was Spectrum.
Spectrum was it's exciting.
So
okay. So
Spectrum,
before you go into being exciting, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was a keynote speech from Facebook and Twitter. That was what it was for me. It was I had to wait so long hearing Lando and Tyler going back to Tyler, back to Jared.
See, we didn't get any of that because
I got that for about an hour.
We were there,
and that was cool. I got to see.
So we were all just drinking and mingling and all that stuff during those parts.
But
yeah,
the Spectrum thing is amazing. It's super important. But the way they presented it was a keynote speech from Nvidia or Facebook. I was there for a celebration.
Yeah.
They just went, and now you've got to wait a bit longer before the good bits. And I can't deal with that. I was sitting there just full of anxiety and like prep and readiness for something amazing.
This is the thing.
This is the reason we do giveaways at the end of the stream.
There's a couple things. I don't think this is from the rumblings of what was going on, and whatever. I don't think they wanted to even show this. I think they wanted to show Squadron 42 stuff, but it just didn't get done in time, and they needed to fill it with other content. I think that's the same reason they showed the editor stuff. Although I do agree that they should have shown the editor stuff because that was awesome, and we're going to talk more about that.
Yes,
but that's why, I think Chris wanted this to be complete before showing it, but they needed to put it in because the Squadron 42 stuff just wasn't ready in time.
So in the last,
don't you think?
In the last 2 monthly reports, it's been pegged to be shown that the communication platform 2.0 was pegged to be shown at CitizenCon. They said was going to show it. The same as the patcher and stuff as well. So
right. So this is all of it. So this is the patcher. This is the communication stuff. This is the website. This is the app. This is Spectrum. Is literally all of it. Spectrum is your real life Moby-Glass, I guess.
Well, it's mixed with that. It's your real life Moby-Glass mixed with your in-game one. It's all kind of synergized.
Now,
which is also
when I had it up, obviously I had Twitch chat open while we were watching this, and
it took me a while. I forgot to do it.
A lot of people were just saying it was Discord. Basically, they were saying it was a mix in between Discord, Facebook, and MySpace. of the three things,
sort of.
which is fairly close, but
not a bad thing.
But all integrates stuff into the game, inside and outside of the game. I thought the things that they talked about were really, really cool. I don't have the list of notes up here because it's behind the video, but the things like the
there's a list of notes in the doc.
Yeah, I know the doc is behind the video for me.
I thought you meant the video on the screen.
So there's the positional audio I thought was really cool, and having that, I'm wondering how they're gonna do the positional audio in game for the people that are talking from their cell phones or from outside of game. Like if it's gonna come to a speaker, or if it's gonna come from like a radio or something. But I thought that was really cool. All the integration for the forums, for the orgs, all that stuff. I'm really, really excited to see.
Mumble does a positional audio thing in game, and if you're in that game with that person, you hear them through the walls and stuff.
Yeah.
You hear them.
TeamSpeak does the same thing with Arma, I believe.
Yeah, but if you're not in the game with them, you come through, as you said, just like a normal voice on the speaker. So,
cool. I didn't know that.
So I think there's going to be partial integration like that, sort of like.
Gotcha.
Well,
I didn't know that. Like, I heard people said something about Mumble, but I didn't understand how it worked. So it knows if you're in the game together, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Only some games don't properly support it, obviously, because it has to work out where you are in game. But we used to play Natural Selection 2, running around going, Marco Polo! It's like aliens running around.
That's awesome. But no, I think one of the big things for me was actually the forum stuff, and it's not just your traditional forum, but they also have live chats as well as Q&A sessions. So they didn't only set it up as an organization thing, they set it up as a thing that the devs can use. So a dev can pop in and say, you know what, I'm doing an AMA today, and they do it on the live channel, and questions get asked and they answer, or there's the QA section thing. You know what I mean? So they can do all that. And I thought that functionality was really cool because now not only can that be done for the developers, but now, for example, for us, we can have a little redacted forum on there, and we could do, questions and answers and live chats and all these things that they can all be integrated into not only the website, but into the game too. It's a really, really exciting. But obviously voice comms was
one of the things that I was surprised they said they weren't, because it feels like such a replacement for, say, Discord and forums and stuff like that, even though it's not 100%. I was surprised, and I guess it kind of makes sense that they didn't, but they didn't do any sort of video as well. I thought that we would have seen that.
Maybe that's a plan
later on,
but
and they didn't
a
want
far
to,
down the line
and
plan.
they don't want to
Because
lock into that.
yeah, so like if we want to go over a timeline of it, the forums and the chat, they're gonna go live on what they're calling the browser. So there's 3 different applications: the browser application, the game application, and then the mobile app. So the first thing that's gonna go live is the browser application, and that is your your launcher, and so this will turn into the launcher. I guess it'll be called Spectrum from now on, and it's going to have those forums and chat.
Right.
So, and then right after that, or not right after that, they were talking about 6 to 8 week timelines for each patch, and then the next integration will be within game, where you'll have overlays. And I'm assuming instead of that shitty chat that we have in the bottom right that Chris wanted to change a long time ago, that's gonna get changed. And then by the end of the year, for the browser, and then voice will come in later. So they're saying 6 to 8 week cycles to get these things out. But if anything is
And what was
at Turbulent, if anything is like it is at Star
Citizen,
Citizen, then it's going to take a little while for it to come out.
They said the first release though was November. Was that
No,
correct?
they didn't give a date. It was soon TM, just like everything else.
Okay,
Soon
I thought
TM.
it was. I thought it was within the next month or something. I don't know where I heard that from. I thought that's what
No.
the presentation. I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, I've watched it quite a few times. Yeah, no date there. I wish, but nothing.
Yeah.
It was just soon.
Just
A few weeks. Expect it for 3.0.
Soon TM. And what is the biggest thing to that you want to see or that you're excited for?
I mean, honestly, I think believe it or not, is probably the least exciting thing for most people is the forum stuff.
Yeah.
Like voice comms they're so far away that I'm actually not excited for them, because that was the last iteration. So while that is probably the most important thing and the thing that it does excite me the most, I'm actually really excited to see how they do the forums. I really liked what they had.
Right.
But for me, it's very much game presence. So being able to see your friend in game, see where he is, and be able to join on them. Like I can get into their server really easily. I can see who's online when there are, like you can on Steam and that sort of stuff. I think that's going to be really, really useful.
I think for a lot of us, this is going to it's like, okay, I'm going to be having another tab open, and this is going to be all that stuff on there. But for me, my big thing is being able to communicate with my organization, especially now I know Bored, you run an org, and Twerk, you're part of a large organization. But being able to communicate with them effectively and being able to do all of that stuff with them is really, really important to me. So I'm excited for that. And then yeah, just the second, very close second is the launcher. And having the launcher with the new Delta patching and all of that other stuff in there. Because all of this, all of Spectrum is going to be in it's going to be in this.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the
No,
launcher.
I agree with you, though. Like, I'm in a very large org in Imperium, and I've been really bad about being interactive with them because I have the Redacted forums, the Star Citizen Reddit, YouTube, Twitch, and them. And it's too hard to manage everything at one time. But if everything is in one place, it's a lot easier.
But you could have everything in one place now at the moment. You could have everything in Discord. That's your choice to have had all that separate. This, if anything, is going to confuse you more.
Yes and no.
Because you already have the option.
So the problem
Have it in
is
one place.
but
how do you get all those people into Discord, right? Because by the time that Discord had come out and we were even using it, my org was already 500, 400 people strong, right? So, and then messaging all those people, not everybody is up to date with a game or checking the stream or whatever every day or even at all. Some people are like, I'm in the game, I found the org I want to join, I joined it, now I'm out until beta or I'm out until the game launches. So how do you reach out to those people and say, hey, we have a Discord?
You put it in the game,
right?
Basically,
exactly.
Right?
You have to have
That's
a way
what they're doing.
to message everybody, and we did that with the fleet thing. And I know if Proxys is in chat and a couple of the other my mods are in chat, we had to individually message every single person, and even then it wasn't guaranteed that they got that. So while yes, you could have said, oh, everybody go on Discord and keep it all there, it's kind of hard to do that when you can't contact everybody.
No, ease
or
of access is
whatever.
definitely better with the system they're going for, and that's what they're going for. They want people to be able to go there easily,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and it's great for that.
Now, something I wasn't expecting from this as well was for them to have a live demonstration of it.
Yes.
I was sitting there, and Jeremiah Lee, if he's in chat, can attest to this. We were both like, let's go to the App Store right now. So we went to the App Store, and I was looking for it because I was like, yeah, if they're talking about this right now, I'm searching Spectrum. I was searching Star Citizen. I was searching everything I could to see if it was up there yet. And then they showed the demo and then said that it wouldn't be out for a while. But yeah, no, I was surprised that they showed.
It looks good though.
It looks really good. And the fact that they have the light and the dark options and all of that other stuff
Already?
is really awesome.
Like what? Okay, the only thing that bothers me a little bit about this, what do you guys think about the upvoting thing? Like we see people on Reddit and we see people on the community hub all what is it called?
Yeah.
Banding together to upvote stuff and shit.
Right.
It's
Brigading.
This is
brigading. Thank
right.
you. Yeah,
so
I don't
this
like
is
that.
the thing is I don't think it'll change where it is. I think it's more of a reputation thing. Like if you agree with the post, it's like you up it. If you disagree with the post, then you down. Yeah, it's vote for it, but it doesn't change.
It didn't seem to be a down.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, so it's like if you agree with it, you agree with it. But I don't think it changed where the post showed. Like it didn't take it out of its order.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
like
very for me. I want a system, and it's very much a rough idea at the moment, that you get a point of upvote for every comment you make.
Yeah.
And that stops bots, because you can see who's a bot then. You know, oh, someone's talking about shower gel again. Right.
Yeah.
That's a bot.
Yeah. Yeah. Filter all
like
of that
that idea.
nonsense out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all in all, it seemed very cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't.
It's gonna be
all
good.
we know is soon. TM.
Yeah.
Well, soon for the
Unfortunately.
first iteration of it. It's very much the early iteration.
Yeah.
Because the main thing is the voice chat from that, and that's going to be a while away.
Yes.
Are we ready for the Polaris video?
Are we?
It's not. So I don't think that's the Polaris video.
What?
It is. It's
It's
a
a-
commercial. They did ship
It's a
commercials.
Squadron 42 propaganda video that ties
Do we
the
want audio for
PU
this?
to.
Sure, why not? I think
I'll
it's
put
I
a
think
little
it's
bit
a
in
ship
the background
commercial.
here.
Yeah, it's the initiative commercial, isn't it, for the
I
the
think
mission
it's a
stuff.
ship commercial. Who said they're not doing them anymore?
Okay, so the UE militia mobilization.
Yeah.
It did look very, very awesome.
For sure.
1 year ago, our lives were shattered. But we have not forgotten.
The trailer guy's voice is
Yeah,
pretty good too.
he was on point. Like just all the
United in the
sounds and
face
everything.
of the Vandal threat, we have dedicated ourselves to creating the universe we have
Now
always
there's
wanted.
a story
A
behind
safe
this
and secure
that Forrest
UE
told us
for
when this was
all.
playing, and it was that flag was originally he just made an animation. And he went to Chris, and Chris was like,
continued
"Nope,
support in
it
the
has to
sale
be with
of
the wind
war bonds,
simulation, and same with all the
UE
embers and
is
everything."
proud
So
to
that's
announce
like
the
all
Militia
simulated.
Mobilization Initiative, authorizing the sale
so
of
we'll talk about this
certain
after,
military-grade ships to ensure that civilian militias are properly equipped to defend the Empire in times of need. We will ensure a brighter future for our children. At the forefront of that effort is RSI's newest ship, the Polaris.
Idris.
Combining
The Polaris.
devastating firepower and searing speed, the Polaris-class corvette is effective against a wide variety of aggressors and scenarios. From delivering humanitarian aid to tactical operations, the Polaris's ability will make it an essential part of any fleet for years to come. But the Polaris is only the tip of the spear for this grand initiative. A full line of other ships are now available for a limited time, And to support faster mobilization and operational effectiveness, fleet formations are being offered in discounted, pre-designed ship teams. So stand in solidarity with the brave men and women who
cool
put
when
their
all the
lives
Idrises
on the
worked in.
line and
Oh,
join
yeah.
them in protecting
And for anybody
the
wondering,
dream
that is a
that
Bengal.
is the
Oh, people are like,
UEE.
what ship is that?
Answer the call today.
So yeah, was a pretty cool little ship commercial announcement.
My
Obviously-
first worry
Yeah.
was that they were going to sell a Bengal.
Yeah.
After watching that, because I was like,
Yeah,
Tropius
I
said
wasn't
it in the chat
sure.
too. I thought originally it was a Squadron trailer.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
They
what
first started
it
it.
very much looked like. That's what I
Segue.
thought it was.
Yeah.
Or a
I think it was
segue
supposed to
into
link them together.
Squadron 42,
And
and
it
it,
just-
probably
didn't.
was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for I know some people are like, oh, simulated flags. Oh no, I'm not talking simulated flags. The wind simulation. So everything in there that was affected by wind, be it the embers, be it the smoke, be it the flags, all of that stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Originally, it was just gonna be sort of canned animations in there, but they're like, nope, we have this tech in, use it. And so that's what they did. They went and used it. So that was pretty cool little snippet. But yeah,
It has become this beast of a simulator now. I keep on using a universe simulator, but that's incorrect. It's a galaxy simulator. They're able to do all this like rotation
This is-
around planets.
guys,
and-
this is proof we
ridiculous.
live in a simulation. Simulation theory, correct.
If Chris Roberts can do it, we might be living in one. But the next thing
Inception.
is the sales page. Did you buy one? There's all sorts of cool
Yeah,
stuff
so-
on the sale page as well.
I'll pull the sales page up right now for the Polaris, and it's not just the Polaris that's on here. So the 2946
No.
Polaris, it was cool seeing it as well. It looks a
The
little
white
bit
box
like
thing was kind of like, I don't care to buy this the way it looks, and then you see the concept art and you're like,
it looks
Alright,
pretty
I
cool.
like it.
Yeah. This video here, I don't think I've seen this. This 10-second video. Okay, let's see. We'll bring this up. This is on the Polaris page. Oh, it's just the concepts that it moves around. Okay. I thought it was something new. I was incorrect.
You were incorrect. Good job.
So we got physical brochures there. Well, some people did.
some people did. I had to give mine away. Second con in a row, I gave mine away because I'm a nice guy.
Because you're a nice guy.
I'm
I
not
didn't
being a
even
nice
get
guy
one.
anymore.
I
I
didn't even get
gave
one.
mine away to a backer who was like, I didn't get one of those. Where'd you get that? And I'm like, here. And then they're all gone, of course.
So there are
fuck.
2 ships in this sale that I see already that I know are very popular with people. That if you wanted to get one, now is the time to get one. One is the F7CM Super Hornet. The second one is the Aegis Dynamics Saber.
Love
So
the Saber.
those 2.
And
they
then-
also have the Fighter Squadron.
They have the Gladius
pack.
listed because it's in that patch.
Yes. Well, it's in the pack. It's in the Fighter
Or the
Squadron
pack, sorry.
Yeah,
Said
yeah,
patch. In that pack below there for 350. So if you do the math there, it's a better value than buying them
so
individually.
150. So let's just do this. 150 plus 150 is 300. Plus 90 is 390. So even, and then plus 30 is
Plus 35. All right.
Well, no, yeah. Well, hang on. Plus 20. Sorry, 35. Yeah. So what is that? 390 plus 30. It's a lot cheaper if you buy all 3. I'm not mathing right now. I have too much shit
Please.
going on.
Please do a maths.
The
with-
chat will do it. The chat
The
will
chat will
do
do
it.
it. Anyways, it's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Then we have the bomber unit with the Anvil Gladiator, the Retaliator bomber, and once again the Freelancer Miss. I know a lot of people are interested in the Freelancer Miss. This is also the time to get that.
Yeah.
With the bomber squadron
Say that-
package being significantly reduced.
It's quite
425. There we go.
Quite
Um,
possible. They're all going to be available in the anniversary stream on the mid-November.
Now,
They
But
now,
maybe not at this deep discount with the packages.
maybe not.
the Starfarer Gemini and the Anvil Crucible are both available right now, which normally aren't.
Yep.
The Buccaneer is now available as well with the Dragonfly Black. So and those all come in the Aggressor pack, which is the Priority priority pack. And then, of course, you have your carrier air wing, which comes with the Polaris, and then the Aegis War Pack, which has a whole bunch of stuff in there. So yeah, if those are ships you're interested in, definitely now's the time to grab those, or you can possibly wait until the anniversary sale when they could be up then. So what are your thoughts on the Polaris? Now, they announced it before the event during our stream, and then we gave I think 2 of them away. From what I remember, we gave away 2 Polarises on the second stream, and then we gave away an 890 jump and a Phoenix away, or
7,000 people start watching. We'll give away another one. Oh my god!
Yeah, so it kind of blew up kind of fast.
I didn't. Did either of you end up buying one?
I didn't buy one. No.
Bored?
I have decided.
Still thinking about it?
Well, I'm going to probably grab one for a giveaway.
Okay.
Quite possibly, or maybe lots of other packages as a giveaway. We'll wait and see. See. Got till Sunday to decide for me. But for me personally, it's not a ship that I like for its role or the way it looks.
Right. For me, it's something that maybe I'll pick up in the game, but for for right now, it's not really for me personally. What about yourself, Twerk?
Yeah, go on, Twerk.
Okay, so for me, I don't have any capital size ships, so it's always been my mentality with the stream that when something new comes out, I want to have the ability to show it.
Right.
So I've been melting and unmelting and doing all these things to try to have enough store credit to go around and bounce around ships. So when new ships come out, I can melt, get that ship, show it off. And given I don't have anything big, I kind of figured I needed something like that. So I said, all right. I had quite a bit of store credit as I melted a few things. And yeah. Oh, I just got so scared. I rolled my chair back, and it woke Lola up, and she got really loud, and I thought I rolled over her.
Oh, God.
Just a cat splodge on the floor where you run over with a chair.
She's like 10 feet away. But no, I ended up getting one, because I don't really have the option to get an Idris, so I'm kind of...
Okay.
Would you get an Idris?
Feel like I'm stuck. No, I don't think I can afford one. You know, that was so much more... And Idris was so much more than a Polaris, right?
Yeah.
So you get in that large class ship with the... I know 750 isn't a decent price for a video game thing, but, you know, at a reasonable price.
There's something very important. We always say, everyone knows already, you can get all this stuff in-game. Might take a while. You might have to do it with an org.
That was one of the cool things that when Chris talked about the Polaris sale, one of the things that he said was, like, I know this is an expensive ship. I want to make this very clear. If you buy anything above the minimum, the reason you're doing it is to give money to the development of the game. That's all you're doing it for. We've been saying it forever, and Chris pretty much word for word said what we say on the stream every single week when we talk about ships.
That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, I spent $200 to get the Polaris, so that seemed reasonable to me. Anything above that, I wasn't really comfortable doing.
I'm curious what you guys think and what the chat think. What should I have? Should I have an Idris or should I get the 890 jump? If I had a choice between those two ships.
What do you want to do?
I would say right
game?
now that you should probably get the Idris, because we'll probably see it before the 890 jump, because the 890 jump's going to get made after Squadron comes out.
Yeah.
So it comes down to showing off stuff. You're going to want to show off the Idris.
You'll want to show the Idris off more than the 890 jump anyways, number one. And as a content
That's debatable,
creator,
though.
As a content creator.
Because, but the 890 jump is so limited.
This is true. The second thing is...
You can borrow an Idris.
The second thing
can you borrow
is
an 890?
the functionality for your organization. What has more functionality for the organization? And I think I'm going to say the Idris is going to be better for your org than
it has more liability for the organization as well, because it's a big ship. You need to maintain it. You need to be using it to make money, and
the 890 jump just costs money. It doesn't really make you anything.
Why? You can cruise around space going woo.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's a tough decision, man. A lot of people in the chat said 890 though, Bored.
So we're gonna touch on the sore spot of the presentation, and that was lack of the Squadron 42 info and the delay of that, and no real timeline or anything. I was really upset about that. I thought for sure we were gonna see two things that we didn't see: more Star Marine FPS stuff. We saw 0% of that. And the Squadron 42 stuff, we didn't. I thought we would see an intro mission.
We saw maybe
or have like a
1%
demo or whatever. They showed a slide, and that was about it. And it was like, a lot of people were understandably upset about that, because that's sort of what everybody thought this CitizenCon was about. I thought it was going to be about that. And I understand why they didn't do it. They wanted it to be in a better place than where it is right now. And at least they were very open with that. And that's why, like I said, they showed a lot of things that I think they normally wouldn't have shown. And they were expecting to show a lot more of the gameplay stuff. One of those things being Squadron 42. But what
and what I was going to say is if you were really upset about that, because I was, once you went through this, I kind of was like disappointed for the rest of the day, and I think a lot of people were too. If you saw the Reddit immediately after the show, it was so much salts. People were so upset. But when you actually go back, and I have quite a bit now since, and watch the demo and watch the whole live stream, it's filled with quite a few awesome things. The real thing that really bothers me about what they did is they told us that we were going to see something and then decided that it wasn't ready. Then don't ever tell us that we're going to see something. It's just, and I think Bored has something that he can say about this that we talked about earlier. Is
you want me to have my rants?
Yeah, well, not more. Yeah, I guess it's a rant about backup plans, right?
So for me, obviously, we wanted to see some Star Marine footage, yeah, whatever. And we know that the devs are playing it in their little dev branch and stuff. Now, it's important for me for them to have a backup plan. Whatever happened with the Squadron 42 thing, it clearly got pulled at the last second or something, possibly even during the event. And they had to fill the void of that with other presentation and stuff. That's why I was talking about the PowerPoint presentation keynote speech. That's why it annoyed me, because I felt that they were trying to fill a void. Now, you have a backup plan, okay? And you should always have a backup plan, even if you're 100% ready to go. Because something could break on the day. And that backup plan could have been showing Star Marine footage. Let's go, bam. Could have been a video of Star Marine footage. Could have been the new flight model in 2.5's interim patch or whatever they're doing with that.
Right.
That sort of stuff. They could have done so much, but didn't. They had no plan other than to fill the void. Have that second plan. Have that backup plan. It felt a disappointment, because we were expecting Squadron 42 so much. They said these are the two things we're getting: the Homestead demo, Squadron 42, and that's what I peddled on my news. That's what we all thought, and we're only disappointed because we thought
that's what we were all looking forward to.
Yeah, and if they said, guys, the Squadron 42 is coming out next week because we've got something to show you with Star Marine, great. We go, cool,
or
it's coming out in a week or
anniversary
two time.
sale, or end of year, like whatever.
At one of the bigger
I know they wanted to do it then because it's CitizenCon, but just don't say anything.
Well, I don't mind, but I do mind. But it's more that I wanted to see a backup plan video. They should have like an hour's worth of video or half an hour's worth of video pre-prepared in case that the computers break down there. Okay, the computers explode, the power goes out. They can play those videos or whatever. It's just. I just want those backup plans in case something like that happens again, and then it's much easier to save rather than to fill the void with the Spectrum stuff or whatever. Or if I don't know if that presentation was supposed to go on for another 3 hours or something, for we know. Yeah. So it's just more backup plans.
So I mean, it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna go. I was gonna move forward into it, but you finish what you were gonna say.
No, I mean, I just really agree with Bored. There's no reason why. For an event like CitizenCon. This is CitizenCon. This isn't Gamescom. This isn't E3. This isn't something where you can...
main.
This is your thing, right? You should have everything... You should have everything available just in case. So for all the reasons Bored said, it should be multiple backup plans on backup plans on backup plans. And the last thing that should have came up is that keynote speech type stuff. Like, I love John Erskine. I met him in Texas.
Yep.
It was he's a great guy, but what he was on stage for, I don't know.
Could have been 10 minutes. That could have been a 10-minute presentation.
And yeah, I don't know if we needed to see that. And I know kind of what they were doing was tying some history, right? So they were like, where were we? Where are we now? Those type of things. But at the same time, I'm just.
But we were there. We're there to celebrate. We're there to watch, to celebrate the game, not to be. And that was quite boring. And it was quite boring.
Not only that, but one thing that Chris said is what CitizenCon is about showing the new like the stuff, the far off stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So I understand Squadron. You don't want to show it because Chris said he wants it. Like for the Squadron stuff, it's got to be polished. For the other stuff, it doesn't. So why didn't we see Star Marine? Star Marine isn't ready. Why didn't we see it? That's the type of thing. Because they didn't have it ready.
It should be new, and it should be getting close to being ready to done.
Yeah,
but
and
it should have been there.
No.
I was expecting.
I think the reason we didn't see Star Marine there is because they had that Squadron 42 and they pulled it at the last second.
And they didn't have the demo prepared for it.
Could have been ready.
So they couldn't do it because they didn't have the teams, the computers, all that stuff wasn't ready just in case. Because if they were going to do a demo of Star Marine, they would have had to have 8 computers on stage.
And that's what we want ready just in case, because things do go wrong, as we've seen. But CitizenCon 2015, there was too much to digest. There was loads of videos pre-prepared. There was loads of tech stuff that wasn't ready, like the Morrow tour and even the Admiral Bishop speech was shown anyway, and we were cheered because of that. We don't, because we can say what they got at the moment, and we know it's going to be improved. That's what we want to see, and I like that. I don't care if it's not ready, because that's why we're in open development.
That's why we're backing the game so early, is because we want to see behind the curtains, right? Like we loved seeing the editor demo. That, like I said, that was awesome to see that and to show that they can just pop things in and populate things and go from one to whatever, and that was really awesome. So show us more of the white boxing, the gray boxing stuff. I want to see more of that. I want to consume more of that content. Show us the initial things that you have on whatever alien races you have. Now is the time to do that, right?
I would have been happy with the Squadron 42 demo unpolished. Yeah. And I think we all were. And
I know we all would have been, but you have to understand why I get why they don't want to show that yet, and I'm okay with them not showing.
I get that, but they need to have.
I'm totally fine with them not showing it. It's just.
They should have had Star Marine. They should have had maybe some of the alien stuff if it's ready, or more of the mission stuff, or more of the stuff for the PU, or any sort of backup video. We sat through an hour and a half of slides and 20 minutes of video.
And from talking to a lot of people, the event itself seemed to be really fun. People had a great time at the Bar Citizens. People had a great time at the event. It was just that part of the presentation that there was a void for. So backup plans, and that's basically what it is, isn't it? That's all that we can say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's backup plans, and then not mentioning that you had anything like I couldn't believe. I mean, I said this before. How do you say what's going to be at CitizenCon before CitizenCon?
I mean, he said that as well. Chris said it. He said that this is going to be what we show.
Yeah, and it bothered me the fact that he said it at all, Bored. And I had said this before, it's CitizenCon. We want to be surprised. Nobody told us that we were going to see the Morrow tour. Nobody told us that we were going to see these other things. That shit pissed me off 2 weeks ago. Because why is that getting debuted on some random guy's YouTube channel? And Gamers Nexus isn't some random guy. He's a great guy. He does great videos. All stuff is fantastic. But in the end, he really is some random guy's YouTube video that's debuting what's going to be at CitizenCon, and that's kind of ridiculous. So that bothered me even then, and now it bothers me even more because what was said was going to be there isn't.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we can learn from that lesson and not.
Yeah. I think it's a lesson that CIG will definitely take.
All bring up good points, and I think the biggest one moving forward from this, going into the future, whether they have things ready or not, is to have those backup plans and have that video. And then if they don't release it and they need that extra video for ATV or whatever, they have it and they can put that out, or they can put it out more to keep that hype train going. Because we know they have a lot of assets done. We know they have a lot of stuff that we haven't seen. For example, the landing zone, right, in Nix or whatever, of Levski. We know we've seen parts of that. We could have seen more of that. We could have seen all kinds of things that they didn't show us. So next time, just have some backup plans that in case that falls through, you have something for in case the power goes out or in case
I like
something doesn't
We
work.
still love you, but we could have done better.
I like how hypocritical I can be because I'm the worst person with backup plans. I have none. Everything goes wrong.
also-
happens upstream.
You also don't run a game company. You also are.
No, I don't. You're right.
Yeah, right.
Very perceptive of you.
Yeah. So I mean, that's sort of where I come from with that. However, we did get some Squadron 42 info, so let's jump into that now.
Yeah.
There's going to be 28 chapters of 60, with 60 plus missions in total.
So a couple of missions per chapter, seems cool.
Yeah, so about 2 major missions per chapter, and then I imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of side missions and stuff like that to go on as well. 40 ships. Now, what do you think they meant by this? Is this 40 ships that you're going to fly, or is this 40
No,
ships
it's 40
that you're
unique. No, it's including the Bengal. It's including all the Vandal ships. It's all of those ships.
But who
All the
knows?
ships
We
that
might
we
be
will see.
flying a little bit of the Bengal. I don't know. Maybe you're going to be doing stuff on it potentially, flying off of it at a minimum.
Yeah.
Maybe you hit up a turret or a crew station at some point. I would consider that flying a Bengal, wouldn't you?
I
Oh,
guess.
maybe. So, anyone that doesn't want any Squadron 42 spoilers, please close your ears, very briefly. So
Are these spoilers? I don't want to hear
no,
this either.
no,
What are you
but I'm just going
spoiling?
to talk about something that is slightly spoiled. In the Planets V2 demo,
Okay.
we saw a crashed Javelin.
Yeah.
When they talked about the original character creation, they talked about you being on a Javelin at the beginning of Squadron 42 and it crashing or getting destroyed, and that's why you have to surgically do your face or something. So do you think that could be the same Javelin from what they were talking about there?
It would make sense if Squadron's that close, but
It depends what year it crashed. There probably was in the demo, but I didn't see.
there was a
There was a year there. That's true.
Yeah, there
now,
was.
now I'm thinking maybe it was the same. But
yeah. We'll have to look
open your
back at it.
ears again, people.
You may open
You
them.
can come back. Come back. We got to do hand signals.
And they sort
Like
of
Chris.
they went over their hurdles that they have right now. Their subsumption, the object container streaming, and obviously the CPU and GPU optimizations, which are really important to put out a finished product, right?
But the biggest hurdle there really was because that can be polished at the end, and they also need AMD and NVIDIA to write the drivers for that. At the moment, a lot of the performance issues we're having is because we have no real drivers for Star Citizen. But the AI subsumption stuff, they need that so well polished because the AI in the game need to be perfect, and they need to not ram in asteroids. They need to not do derpy stuff. And they talk about all these AI being on these 24-hour schedules and all this clever stuff. That has to be in the game. They've said it's in the game now. They can't
Yeah, it
backtrack
needs
on
to be
that.
there.
So that's
It needs to be
hard
there.
for them.
And the thing with the object container streaming is they talk about it later in that editor section where they just take a little station and drop it in with the
I think
object
it's
container thing.
prefabs, didn't we? We talked about this earlier. We think it's the
Yeah.
prefabs and them streaming in and appearing and
So-
popping out
Right.
LODs. And
Yeah, and why I'm mentioning it now, it's usually something that you would just brush over. Even Chris brushed over it in the keynote or whatever, right? So it's not that it doesn't seem that big of a deal, but if you're dropping objects in the editor to make planets, that will affect 3.0, that'll affect 3.1, all that stuff in the gameplay that we're going to be playing probably leading up to Squadron 42, right? So that one actually seems like it means something to me now rather than whatever they'll fix it for Squadron 42 whenever it comes out. And they did say that go ahead, Soros. You were talking. I'll let you keep going through the doc here.
Where we're at now, basically they're saying all the missions are at the very least in the gray box stage. So they all like all of the written stuff and all the missions and everything are all planned. They just need to go through and polish them, and they want.
Yeah, so that means that they're probably all playable, right? Testable in
they're all
some way.
testable in at least some way. And
Yeah.
they want to take one chapter that's fully polished and show that. And I think that's what they wanted to show at CitizenCon, but just it wasn't ready. I
so
think
are
that's
we
what they
are we
wanna
saying it's
do.
a mission or a chapter? Because a chapter's multiple missions.
I would hope. Okay, at this point, if he says that's what they want, like, okay, we want to get one polished one, doesn't that seem pretty obvious that that's what they were attempting and didn't finish? We want to
Yeah,
get one
yeah.
polished one.
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah.
do they want one polished one? Because they wanted to show it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
So
he
it
was
seems
talking
like
about it in
that's-
context of that.
I
he
think
was.
Yeah.
I think that they might have even wanted more than to just show it. I think they wanted to demo it. I think
No,
they
yeah,
wanted,
exactly. That's
like what
I
I
mean.
said
Demo.
before.
Show.
Is not only demo it, but have it as a playable demo for everybody.
Oh, like computers at
If it's
CitizenCon, like in the
fully
back by the bar.
polished, if it's fully polished and ready to go, then yeah, people can go and try it out. Whether it's at CitizenCon or at home, for
Or
people
at future cons too.
or for people to just download and try it out. You know, just sort of like how we have free flies.
Maybe.
Here you go. Here's what you have. Here's it's a prologue or something like that, and there you go. Enjoy.
If they weren't planning on doing that, that's a fucking genius idea. Because I know this is going back to like my console days, but I know like when the new NHL came out, you can literally only play for one period as the two Stanley Cup teams, which were never my team because my team sucks. So I was always playing as other teams. It was never like perfect how I wanted it, but I got to play the game that I'm waiting for all year, over and over and over again. Even though it's the same mission, I would do it 100 times. I'd play it over and over again, learn all the mechanics and everything,
If
and
one
it would get me
thing-
so excited to buy the game.
The smart thing for them to do is to release it, but you can only play it for 2 weeks, and then you can't
Yeah.
play it anymore.
And then you're
But I don't
fiending
want them
for
to get.
it.
No,
I don't
you-
want them to be aggressively hyped.
The
I don't
bi-
like
the
that
biggest-
kind of marketing.
The biggest thing for
Does
me,
work.
it does work, and the biggest thing for me growing up was getting PlayStation Magazine and getting that demo disc. And one
Yeah.
of the big things, you know,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, and same with like PC
Irish
Gamer and all of that
console
stuff,
bugs.
right? Like, well, PC Gamer had, I remember playing a bunch of like, of the LucasArts games before they came out,
Yep.
and playing all of that stuff,
Leave
and
the
it's
Steel
like,
Sky.
it's just like,
for it
oh,
all. Oh my
it's
God.
like here's one mission, or here's timed, you can only play for 5 minutes, and then it cuts off. Is like
Try and get
it-
further and further with that 5
and
minutes.
and you go through with a fine-tooth comb with it, and I think they should go back to that, and they should do that again. And I honestly,
We
even if
miss
it's only
demos.
one mission or a prologue or something, they need to do that. They need to add that. Work. I'm gonna let you take over really quickly because I need to go to the washroom real quick. But yeah, I
Yep.
think they
We're
should
probably
do
all gonna
like a
take bathroom
demo.
breaks at some point during
Yeah.
this podcast. So continuing on, they talked about 2.6 progress. So they did a little demo of it, and I'm gonna actually put the YouTube link in the chat right now. And this is actually the beginning of it. If you ever want to go back and look at it yourself, just for yourselves, because we're gonna give you our opinions, but you're more than welcome to
No, you're
to
not allowed to
make
form
your
your
own
opinions.
opinions, right?
No.
'Cause
You're not allowed to form your own opinions. You have to have the same opinion as me.
That's it's just you.
I want to live in an echo chamber where none of my opinions are ever challenged, and that's why I started the YouTube channel. Please, no one take that out of context.
Yeah.
Just clip.
So a lot of the stuff that they mentioned was actually a lot of stuff that we already know, a lot of stuff that we talked about in the chat. So what I put in the document was some of the stuff that we might not have known, and that's that the music logic system is going to appear in 2.6. I wasn't 100% if they mentioned this. I think they might have, so I put that in. They did, right? But then the next thing is that new camera system will be in. So we're going to talk about it a little later. We're going to see it a little later in the Procedural Planet demo.
Let
But
me
they
pull up that
definitely
video.
debuted a lot of new camera stuff. And that's going to be in
Yes.
2.6 as well. And that looks really cool. But then the biggest thing, the most exciting thing is like your traditional FPS game lobbies. So no loading back into the menu and then
Once you're
loading
in,
back
you're
into
in.
the game. Once you're in, you finish a game, you go into a lobby and you start up again. So you and your friends can stay in a party and just play over and over and over again. And I mean, I remember, again, going back to our console days, but playing Halo 2 in college with my friends, like, you know, four controllers all sitting next to each other on our little 13-inch TV. And yeah, I mean, it was awesome. So definitely was big on that. And that's what excited me most about that part. Staying in the game without having to go back to the lobby, killing that
Yeah.
goddamn loading screen.
They are doing a
When
lot
it's
of
unnecessary.
ease of access and ease of
Yeah.
use, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
for
now,
sure.
The camera system you talked about, yeah, we saw some new ones in the demo and stuff like that. But I think this is also the camera system they're talking about for third person, so people can't use it to their advantage. So it's not like, oh, I can peek around corners with it, or oh, I can't peek over obstacles and things like that.
Oh.
I think that's what this is for 2.6 with Star Marine. While I agree that there's the cool new camera angles and whatever, I think they're doing a lot with that. Specifically, what they were talking about with this is to get rid of any sort of.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're
benefits.
100% right. I think I completely that went right over my head because now that we're reading it on the screen, it says updated for third person.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I wonder if we'll even get the stuff that we saw in the demo now. I might be completely off on that, and it might be something for the third person stuff for Star Marine. So good catch, Source, because I completely missed that.
And the music logic system seems really cool. Like, we kind of have it in now, but it doesn't work very well.
I turn music off in games because I'm a monster.
Well, I turn it off because sometimes there's silence, and I don't like that silence in the background. And so that's why we have song requests and everything like that. But if there's always something going on in the background and it's enhancing the experience of the game and the people watching the game, then I'm more than happy to bring it back in. Pedro is a fucking music god. So being able to play his
we
stuff,
love Pedro so much.
yeah, being able to have his stuff going all the time would be amazing. But right now the problem is that there's too many dead zones, I guess, in the audio. And for me, it's like, okay, I want something to sort of fill that out and keep me going and keep me in the flow of whatever's going on. Yeah, then the loading screen stuff is once you've loaded into Arena Commander, then you're in, and that's it.
Yep, and you get your loading screen when you're done, or whatever. I like that. That was one of the biggest things for me. And then moving on, they got into more detail about AC and Star Marine. So we'll start with AC. I thought this was actually pretty cool. Now I call this the new holotable replacement in the dock. I don't know if 100% if that's what it is. This might be exclusive
to Arena
for
Commander.
your AC Star Marine stuff.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's for Arena Commander.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to, and I kind of think so too, Board. We're going to be.
They want to separate Rec from Alpha UEC and UEC.
Yeah.
So having a separate system that just uses Rec loadout and also doesn't allow you to spawn those ships in your hangar is probably something they want.
Well, I think that's what the whole plan is with Arena Commander and Star Marine. We know that whether they're going to be able to do it or not, they want to make that its own esports thing, like as not only in lore universe, but for us as well, where it's something that is completely separate from the standalone game and all of that other stuff. The only thing that sort of connects the two is if you buy a ship in the Persistent Universe, it gives you the ROM for Star Marine, or you buy the equipment in the universe, it gives you that ROM for Star Marine or Arena Commander.
Yeah. They're going to give us the ability to customize. So within game, a little better.
That new holotable replacement, right?
Yeah. So I don't want to call it the holotable replacement because we're not 100% on that. It might be, it might not be, but it's definitely a replacement of having to go to your hangar, having to go to the holotable, and
or your Moby Glass in Arena Commander.
In the menu, it seems like.
Right.
So that is awesome. They're finally adding Pirate Swarm. Everybody asked, "Where's Pirate Swarm? Where's Pirate Swarm?" Well, it's here.
It's kind of surprising it's taken this long, to be honest.
I get it.
Care. I think that's what it is. I think
they didn't care, but
it just wasn't important. It wasn't important.
It wasn't
for
as
anything,
important,
and they needed the resources to work with on other things. But we know that there are backers out there that got Pirate Swarm working.
I was one of them.
Right. So
the video on it,
getting Pirate Swarm working way back when, and it's like okay, so now it's finally coming in. So that's good to see. They
even had it so the Cutlass fired behind with the turret. It was awesome. The next thing was persistent missiles. And that was something that caught my eye. At first, I just saw missiles, and I was like, oh, missile changes, who cares? And then
if you use 4 missiles on your Hornet, you don't have any more missiles until you get more.
You can't kill yourself and get more missiles. You have to buy them.
Or
they're there for that.
I don't know.
That's what it seems like.
Okay, so
No,
this
no,
is
no.
no. I don't
They
think you have
elaborated.
to. I don't think you have to buy them. I think that you'd have to just go and reload them. So you might just
Yeah,
have to go
we'll
and
talk a
land
bit-
and reload them. I don't know if you
Or
necessarily have to
There's
buy
a
them
little
because
more
it's,
later that we'll talk
because it is Arena Commander. It's just it's an in-game game, so it wouldn't make sense that you need to buy them, but it would make sense that you need to go and reload them.
Or whatever.
Manually.
Maybe you just don't get them anymore until the end of the match. Maybe you have to. Maybe they're going to be
Right.
very powerful.
Not
I mean-
necessarily true, because there's going to be pickups. When you kill somebody, it's
There's
going
gonna
to
be ammo
drop stuff.
pickups. Yeah,
So there's
you're
going
right.
to be
It's going to be very
ammo for your
gamified.
ballistic guns. Yes, it's going to be very arcadey, but
Yeah.
this is
And
a
that's
game
what we
within the
want
game.
from Arena Commander, though. Like,
So that's
and
that's
before-
super exciting.
Before anybody says, "Oh, I don't want that in a space game," this is the arcade cabinet in the game, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
like,
it's like
go to a simulator.
why we
in
get the
game,
points and all
then
this other
this look.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the people that
Completely
like the really gamified everything, that's what Arena Commander and Star Marine are gonna be. It's gonna be the equivalents to, whatever arcade games there are out there.
Now people are saying overshield and missile power-ups in chat. I don't think it's going to be that. I think
Maybe.
it's going to be. It could be, but I think it's more going to be on the sense of missile
repairs.
loading,
Your ship has been
repairs.
repaired.
Do you think it's
Things
going to
like
be
that.
similar to
Boost.
how Descent used to be? Like, I don't know if you guys played Descent back in the day, but you fly
did.
through and it changes your weapons, or you fly through and it upgrades your missiles, or
Boosted weapons.
it refreshes your shield, or does all kinds of stuff like that. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I got really excited when I saw that. They also said scoring rebalance. I don't know exactly what that's going to entail, but
It's going to
There's
have all
obviously
the scores rebalanced work.
yeah, well, exact details,
That's
mother.
why I'm here on the podcast.
No, but it needs it, right?
Yeah.
People kill themselves to get away from giving people too many points. All these things. There's a bunch of things that people do, and it sounds like they're really gonna
Get rid
look
of
into it.
exploits, and that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it's really coming into the electronic access games, not only bringing in Star Marine, but balancing what we already have as best they can right now, which is cool.
So with being able to try all the different ships and everything, whether it be a ship that has no weapons or anything like that, it's something that you're going to be able to try out in Arena Commander, whether it be through Free Flight or whatever, in the private matches.
Yeah,
Or
so in
enjoy
private
sense.
matches only, Chris said you'll be able to fly most of the ships, whatever that means. So probably not Argos, probably not maybe not a Starfarer, I don't know. But ships that are flyable in Arena Commander now, I think will be all available to us, and then I don't know what they want to do with it in the future. So I thought that was a good thing too, because isn't that what Arena Commander is supposed to be? It's supposed to be kind of like your test bed before you buy a ship.
Yeah, it's a
But
way to
dogfighting,
test flight
though.
things
For-
without having to
for
worry about.
dogfighting.
Yeah, for dogfighting.
Well, test bed for all your ships before you buy them.
Oh, I don't know.
No,
Oh,
that's-
racing
that's,
too is
no.
an Arena Commander
That's what this they specifically said was things like the Argo and all of this other stuff in private matches and things like that. When you go to like a dealership or something, you can go and see how it flies before you purchase it.
Okay, so what I was going on with there was it's not so much for multi-crew ships.
Or everything.
Yeah, not
I
yet,
think.
at
I
least.
think we're
Yeah,
gonna see everything in there. I think
I'd love to see multi-crew, but I just think I'm not sure if they're going to do that for Arena Commander anymore.
I don't think you're gonna see Arena Commander public multiplayer with that at all. But I think that they specifically said in private matches, so you can test it out with your friends, or like a multi-crew ship, or in a drone sim where you can fly it yourself and see how it controls, how it handles, to see if it's even a ship you want to purchase. Makes a lot of sense.
Sounds cool.
Now, real quick before we go on, with them saying they're available, does that mean that they're all just there for us to test, or do you think you're going to have to earn them within Arena Commander?
Got to be rep,
I think
isn't it?
I think that you need to go to the dealership to try those ships out. I think that if you don't have the ROM for them, that you might have to go to the dealership to try them out. So whatever ships that dealership sells, they have the ROMs. You can jump in their sim pods there and see how it is and go from there.
Yeah.
That would make
Okay.
the most sense for me.
Yeah.
Or in private, they're just everything's open because it doesn't matter and it's a way to practice and test things out.
Fair enough.
Moving forward into Star Marine, they said we had 2 game maps to start, which really excited me, and they aren't necessarily anything we've seen yet. So the first thing is a 4 versus 4 Station Damien, which is a small station map, obviously 4v4. And then the other one was a 12v12, so 24-player Echo 11, which is a larger asteroid base. And I think both of those use a lot of the assets that we have already.
For sure.
So once again, going back to the presentation, it would have been cool just to see a fly-through of these maps or one of them or something to see more of that. Even if they didn't have players running around in them or whatever, I would have liked to see more of this.
Yeah, like there's no fucking way that these maps aren't.
They're done. They have to be done.
Yeah, like done
from
if
a
not
visual,
very close to done.
From a visual
and
standpoint.
showable. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So just following through them, we'll see it.
And they have 2 modes, I think, for both of them. One is deathmatch, which is pretty straightforward, and the other one is control, so kind of like a King of the Hill, which is what I take from that.
Do we think the deathmatch is going to be when one team's dead, you lose, Counter-Strike style, or do you think it's going to be team deathmatch, you keep on spawning? Okay.
It could be both. It could be both.
Yeah.
They say 2 modes, but they could make. It's kind of hard to say. Why wouldn't they have both like that? They should. Who knows? And maybe those will come out in like that, and technically be 3 modes or whatever. But I don't see why they wouldn't add it. So it's like, I also don't understand why they wouldn't do like a battle royale where it's, all versus like you versus everyone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I would like to do a free-for-all. I would like free-for-all as well.
Free-for-all would be cool.
Just the craziness. Shenanigans.
Shenanigans. And, sometimes if you just hide to the last guy, you're good.
Yeah.
Or like, it changes up the way that you play it, and it just adds more game content without adding a whole lot of things. But those may come in later on down the road. Other features that were mentioned for Star Marine were armor, weapons, grenades, which is really important.
Grenades.
I think grenades is one of the things that is holding it back right now. Who knows? But the armor and weapons stuff seems to be very straightforward. We know that with the different physics grids or whatever, there may be some issues with that. And we don't know if you're able to turn off gravity in these stations or not. And that may be a big thing that's holding it back as well. The combat visor, in what they've shown in the demo and everything so far, looks completely different than what we have in now for...
I think you can
It's
turn off the
simple,
gravity. Because I remember they talked about what they were doing with Star Marine very recently as well.
Right.
Let me find out. Well, you
I can't remember about that one.
Search my
They
documents.
also want to bring in looting, where you can pick up stuff off of the other players, which is really important.
And they showed that in the demo, right?
And that's something you want to have in for something like this, because you can pick up other weapons or whatever, like you would be able to. This next one is something I'm super excited about, is friendly IDs. Being able to tell your friendlies apart from everybody else, whether that be a different color, you see them on your whatever.
Yeah.
I hope they do that properly, and I hope they do that in really well. And what were you saying, Board?
New custom arena for ground combat and 0G combined. So we don't know whether you're going to be able to turn on and off gravity, but there's definitely going to be 0G elements in there.
Yeah, so maybe it's Grim Hexy where you go through an airlock and it changes, right?
Maybe. Or maybe it is turn gravity on and off with the gravity generator.
Yeah.
Right. And then last but not least on that list was achievements. And
just whatever.
I don't know if that's
I love
achievements.
Chiefs.
Well, this is the thing, is I don't know if it's achievements like they have an arena commander right now. Or
true.
Or if it's achievements like, get 10 headshots, or be the last man surviving, or be the only one who died, or do all of those. They may have those in.
I love those.
And that would be cool if those were in as well, because then it gives you... You may say you're not interested in that right now, but that's what gives a lot of games replayability. Now, obviously, this is multiplayer, and I'll be able to play it over and over anyways, but at least gives you a goal, and you can be like, okay, guys, today we're going to get 3 achievements, so we're going to work on this achievement today. Maybe there's a really hard one where it's like, get all kills while you're jumping in the air.
With a knife or something.
Or, in 0G.
Get all kills and win a match while in the vents. Something like that. They're coming out of the walls.
All kills have to be done by melee, or all kills have to be done by grenades.
Melee. Oh, my God, melee.
Yeah,
or
and then like
win the
Megatron
match.
says, then we get crates and we can get keys from the store and get skins for our guns.
Like crew purchases, I can
and
buy
then,
the keys for $2.50.
guys, you know what we could do? We could do redactedskins.net, and we could start a gambling with
but then
I
not
just-
say that we own it.
Oh
because
no, we don't own it.
Guys,
But then
we
just
just
found
found
a
this-
really cool
we just found
skin
this-
site called boredgamerskins.com.
We just
And
we
I just
heard
found
about
it and I won $700 and it made me feel so good and
We
fulfilled.
should stream
'cause
us
normally I'm
winning
quite
on that
lonely.
too, so then people know how good your odds are.
Yeah.
I just keep on winning, guys. I mean, all these videos prove it.
Okay, so I am not sure who put the project timeline stuff in, but I'm gonna let you go over this because it's all your notes.
Yeah, and it's just long as
I think
shit.
this
So
was-
that's me.
Okay.
Obviously, I put it in. It's
I mean, obviously, as if I don't do any work on the podcast. Fuck you,
What-
Quack. I don't need you.
when
I'm
did you
gonna start a
show
new
up today?
podcast.
Actually, I showed up after
Black
you
jacket,
today. So
cocaine.
I showed up after you today, so whatever. I whatever. So in Star Citizen Alpha 3.0, I only put what I thought was super important in the 3.0 part, and it's pretty much that we will have planets 3.0 because a few people asked that this morning.
Version 2.
Mhm.
Quack means
Yeah,
version 2.
version 2. Sorry,
The
I
planets
added
that we
3.0
saw at the convention, what we're gonna
Probably
get.
even better. Probably
Not
even better than that.
and I don't think it's going to be those planets because those planets were in the Lear system, but we're going to see the planets in the Stanton system to that level of fidelity.
I'll have you know that planet Lear was almost certainly in the Stanton system in that demo.
Yeah.
I think they just
this is the other
pasted
thing
it in
too.
next to Portal
Is
Star.
just like we see with some of the stuff we have in now. I don't know what's not supposed to be there, but there are things in what we have now that aren't supposed to necessarily be there,
Like Grimhex.
like Grimhex. They're just gonna put maybe some of those planets or moons in.
I think Grimhex is supposed to be there.
No, it's not. It's not supposed to be in such an obvious place. They've talked about it before. So they
It's too
either
close.
hide it a lot better, or it will be on the very edge of another system, a less law-abiding system, because
Yeah,
that
well,
one's still got at least militia in.
You think things will spread out a bit too?
Yeah.
When this comes in, and then I went right to ships next. So I thought it was interesting. Did we know that the Caterpillar was coming in 3.0 until now?
No.
Okay, so that was big. That's why I put that first. Dragonfly, we knew.
Well, I imagine the Dragonfly is very close to ready. Same with the Rover.
They've used it
Because
twice
they're using
now.
them,
It's done.
but they're just
They're
waiting for
ready.
us to have planets to put them in.
to use it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. And then the Aquila with the Rover. So we knew the rest of the stuff. It's been said before. We've seen the
The
Aquila.
Aquila was a little bit
The
of
Aquila
a
was
surprise,
used in the demo.
to be honest. It was ready to go.
It's nice to
I
have
was surprised
confirmation.
it was ready to go, but we've had confirmation it was in 3.0 before CitizenCon.
It's nice to have
But they
that
did-
confirmation, though.
Absolutely. And then moving right on to 3.1, I dropped to my knees and
know you
and
did.
did one of these in the middle of the demo because mining's
I
coming
saw
in.
this and I immediately thought twerk.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if anybody has watched my channel, I think people probably, not just you, thought that. They were like, oh, Twerk's going to be so happy. Mining, refining, and processing. For you, Saurus, interdiction will be coming in.
Interdiction.
Quantum interdiction. Then escort runs, or some sort of jobs being created for escort missions. And refueling, so maybe the Starfarer and Starfarer Gemini, their little arms are going to appear, and we're going to be able to refuel from them, which is really, really awesome.
That has to be for that, because we have refueling from Cryastro already. That has to be referring to the stuff.
And we don't have any other ship that can refuel that we know of right now. The next one that I've seen is the Polaris that they've even mentioned.
That 3.1 patch. So 3.0 should be the last release of 2016. Should be. That's the plan.
I'm already nope.
It's fine.
I'm
I'm
already
still
nope
going to
for it.
guesstimate these
Are you-
things.
Are you
because-
saying 3.0 is not going to make it before the end of the year?
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I'm just gonna nope everything because I'm not gonna get.
Nope.
This is how I
Disappointed.
win bets, guys.
I'm just not gonna get disappointed.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying.
You know?
So 3.1 for me, obviously, definitely going to be in 2017. But
And how about the
that's the
ships?
industry patch. That is the industry patch. They're putting in the economy stuff. They're putting in the industry ships, allowing their mechanics to work.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, the Hull C Prospector, the Cutlass Red and Blue, which means probably the reworked Black, I would assume.
Yeah, you have
Yep.
to assume rework black too.
For the red and the blue to be even in there. The Origin 85X, which is originally an M50 concept that they've shown us. It may have
Really? I
changed
didn't know
again. Yeah, it was originally it was a two-seater that was an M50 concept, and then they decided, hey, this concept's really good. We should use it for the 890 jump as a two-seater ship that flies down to
shuttle,
planets
yeah.
and things like that. And it's like it's like the little sports. It's like you know how yachts have like their little sport. Like their nice sports boat or whatever that goes in with it.
Yeah.
That's sort of what the 85X is to the 890 jump.
Or like a cruise ship that if it can't dock at the dock,
Right.
it anchors far away, and then
it
you take the
brings
ship
people
into.
back and forth.
I think
Yeah.
it's going to feel very much like a runabout from Star Trek.
Okay, and that makes sense. But before we move on to any of this stuff, Chris did talk to us about, and this is going to disappoint a lot of people. I mean, it's kind of obvious at this point that it's a thing. So if you're just finding this out now, it's kind of silly. But he kind of said, so trying to do those monthly releases, no. So it just
by
doesn't
the time
work.
It does everything, and especially with
Yeah.
even how the launcher is working right now, and all that, it just takes too long for it to go through the paces it needs to go. Like we're seeing things in Evil Cody and PTU for weeks
And
at
that's
a
supposed
time.
to make it go faster.
Yeah, and we're seeing those things for a week, 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time. That's the
A month
majority of it.
sometimes.
That's not even including adding all the new stuff into the patch, adding doing all kinds of stuff. Once it's in those
Yeah.
things, they're constantly iterating on that and then building out on it. So yeah, it's pretty tough, man. For them to keep up with that schedule. And I'm glad they said that. I'm glad they said something about that because that's all I wanted to hear. Right? They said, "Oh, we want to do it every month."
Still made the assumption.
Yeah,
that
and they're saying
it's late because it's supposed to be here in a month.
What are you eating, Twerk?
he's getting jerky.
Jamming some food into his mouth.
He's just
The tricksy little
shoving
hobbits.
Oh, can you hear it?
food
I'm
into
sorry.
his face.
I'm
That's good. I can see
This
it.
you can see it? Good. Because
Good.
this podcast is going to be too long. I got to eat.
This podcast is going to be too long.
We know
is
it's
the
gonna go
redacted
for a while.
tagline from now on, guys.
So I'm going to have to eat and drink. I got
every-
a bunch of water. I'm prepared.
Every one of these. We're
Now,
not
peeing
we're
is
not
gonna be a
doing
whole
too
nother
bad
story.
for time right now, actually.
Mm-mm. We actually moved along quite quickly. So we might actually be able to do everything we want.
But
But
obviously,
eventually.
what ships in 3.1 are you looking forward to the most out of that? The Hull C, the
Uh,
Prospector, the
Believe it or
Cutlasses,
not,
or the Origin.
the whole sea. Most people would think the Prospector because obviously mining,
Right.
and it sounds like mining on planets, but we'll talk about that too in a little bit. I think I have some questions I want to ask you.
3.0.
Huh?
I can hear you after the word caterpillar for 3.0, to be honest. I mean, I want that so much.
Ah,
Oh,
okay,
for
yeah.
3.0, the Caterpillar, yeah,
Yeah.
is my... Okay, let's go with 3.0. 3.0, what one are you looking forward to most? Work. Caterpillar, Dragonfly, or Aquila, or Rover?
Aquila.
Okay. Caterpillar, hands down.
Caterpillar.
Like, shit's all over all the other ones. And then the 3.1, your Hull C board, what are you?
Oh, shit, son. Ask Twerk first, or have you already
He
asked
did.
him?
He said Hull C.
Whole
So
sea.
Hull C,
Yeah,
Prospector, one of the Cutlasses,
never talked
or
about
the Origin, 85X.
It's got to be the Prospector. Although I'm really excited to see that little shuttle.
Yeah.
I like
and see,
little
for me,
shuttles.
it's those reworked Cutlasses finally, right? Like having those in and having all of those. That means
Yeah.
that by then, all of my ships are in. All of my Drake ships
Yeah.
are in by the time the
Buccaneer.
Cutlasses come in.
They didn't
with
mention the
exception of
Buccaneer at all.
Buccaneer.
It's because it needs.
Did you guys notice that? I think they made a mistake.
No, I don't think they did.
No.
You don't think it's going to come?
I don't think it's in their roadmap at the moment. I think they'll add it in if they've got time and space. But at the moment, they're getting
They'll
the ships
shoehorn
that
it
they,
in if it needs
Yeah.
to come in, but
as soon as they've got time, they'll work out when they can place it. But
yeah.
they
Yeah.
want to get that stuff
And
done.
I'm excited to see how they're going to rework the black. I know that Josh Coons is working on it. Unfortunately, he wasn't there because I really wanted to talk to him about the Cutlass.
I think people will be most annoyed about the Retaliator not being on there at the moment.
Like redone?
Not Retaliator. What am I doing? Redeemer.
Yeah. Somebody said rip Redeemer when I started talking about this
Yeah,
stuff.
because obviously that's the ship that needs the most work because they need to reconcept it effectively so that it gets into their new system. They need to work out loads of stuff for that. And because it was player made, they'll probably put that on the back burner until later. And that's why they needed that hoplite. They needed something for Squadron 42 without having to redesign the Earth.
And Jeremiah just said they haven't forgot about the Buccaneer. I'm waiting for Matt Sherman to pop in and say,
well, that makes us feel a lot better.
About
we haven't forgotten about this ship we sold.
Good
job. Thanks, guys.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole C for me really for 3-2 because they never said anything about it.
Does that mean? Do we think they're going to have the A and B ready at the same time then?
That's another thing that I asked this morning. Why C first? When you would do the smaller,
it's good for smuggling. I mean, the idea of the hull C is it's the really common. It's going to be very modular.
Of all of them.
They announced the hull C before any of the others. In fact, the hull A, B, and D, and E were all sort of like additions that we didn't know were going to happen. The hull C was the only one.
And H. The I, the J, the K, the L.
But what I mean is the hull C was the only one that they discussed about releasing, and then when we released the hull C, they had all the others concepted simultaneously that we didn't know about. So we're like, oh, cool, it's not just the hull C, it's the whole range.
Then we have Star Citizen Alpha 3.2, and this is your
Which
repair and salvage.
Yeah. So that's
your
me again.
and covert
These are my
ops.
patches.
This is a big thing for a lot of orgs out there. I think the covert ops is one of the big things that I think a lot of people are.
It was referring
may not know they're excited about, but are going to be really excited about.
Yeah.
The actual thing that said on the slide was mercenaries, covert ops. So do we think this is going to be missions that are covert missions put in?
No, I think it's
mechanics.
They said that they're going to flush out the mercenary because they're going to have the mercenary mechanic in 3.0. They're going to flush it out a little bit more.
I think that might mean
is what
put
Chris's
out missions.
Almost exact words was we're going to flush out mercenary mechanic a little more. So I don't know what it means, but it said covert ops on the slide, but he didn't say shit about it. So it's hard to.
And this brings in a pretty badass ship. This was a really big list of ships. Taurus, and the Constellation Phoenix, the Terrapin, the Vanguard Harbinger, and the Sentinel. And then one of the bigger ships, the Reclaimer.
Woo! Woo! Reclaimer! Nom 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 nom.
Yeah, I think for me, favorite ship's
bumbling. Out of that one is the Reclaimer for sure. I know a lot of people are excited about the Phoenix and stuff like that, but the Reclaimer just seems so cool.
Yeah. The concept design was one of the best concepts yet. It fit more than any of the other concepts for the gameplay that it entails.
It looks so cool.
Yeah.
It's such a cool looking monster ship.
It looks like a monster.
Yeah.
That is the sound a monster would make, Saurus.
That's the sound effect for it. That's what I heard it. NDA, but that is the sound effect. Don't tell anybody.
I applied to do the voice acting for the Reclaimer and I got it. So
nice.
It's correct.
Yeah.
Oh my
then
God,
we have Star Citizen Alpha 3.3, and this brings in rescue and farming. Now the farming thing,
there were more cheers for this one than any of the other ones.
It's not just because he said farming. It's not just the ships they showed.
There's two ships in
here.
They
cheered for farming.
No, dude, it was the ships.
They didn't even see.
I didn't even see it. The first thing I saw was the ships. The first thing I saw, and I looked, and Jeremiah can confirm this in chat. I looked right next to him. I'm like, this is the ship patch that everybody's stoked about. And it was the Banu Merchantman and the Carrack. And those were the two ships.
And the 890 jump.
And the 890 jump, and then the Reliant variants nobody cares about. The Carrack, the 890 jump, and the Banu Merchantman are all the big ships that everybody's super stoked about. And of course, that's why they went crazy like that. Now, the farming seemed really cool. Not only for the Endeavor stuff, but I think we're going to see some planet side farming.
Yeah,
I'm
because
not
how
sure
can
how
you
they're
say
going to
the
do that, but
Endeavor
yeah.
stuff because they never mention the
without
Endeavor in
the
any
Endeavor.
of these lists.
Also
Right.
talked about distribution maps when talking about farmland, so I would possibly suggest that you are correct. Might be
Yeah,
on...
it might be on planet.
And that is
So-
Where
going
else
to
are
be...
you going to buy the plants anyway? I suppose you could just find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean on stores on stations too. It's not like
Yeah,
you
I'm sure you'll be
maybe
able to buy
either
seeds or
farming
whatever.
stations. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna do all corn though.
and what
Because
what is the
obviously-
ship that you like out of those ones? Obviously, it's tough, but you have to only pick one.
Carrick.
Or go. Carrick? Bored.
Eric for sure.
Don't
Banu.
you? Okay.
Banu just.
And
It's
I,
the 890. Really, it's the 890 jump, but the Banu just beats it.
okay. And for
Yeah.
me, it's the Carrick again. That's the ship. That's the ship. That's the first ship I'm going after in the universe. The Carrick.
Mm.
And then, last but not least, they showed the slide with Star Citizen 4.0. And this had the jump points in it. Now, they didn't say how many there were. It could just be the first. It could just be one to another system. There were no promises on how many. And this obviously goes into exploration and science.
Yep.
And surprisingly, again, there's no Endeavor in this list.
No.
There was the Orion, which is the mining ship, and the Crucible,
Okay.
which is the
Obviously,
repair ship. So those
cried.
mechanics for those two ships came in before this, so they should be coming in fully functioning. But the Orion and Crucible are in this, but no, I wonder what they're going to do for the science stuff. I mean, we're going to see the Reliant variants in before this. We're going to see what other ships did they say that would have science stuff on them? I don't know, maybe the Herald?
Wasn't one of the Reliance one?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying,
no
the Reliant.
Endeavor. There's no Endeavor on there.
Yeah,
is
there's
there?
Yeah,
no
that's what we
Endeavor,
were just
that's what
saying.
I'm
There's
saying.
no Endeavor.
The
But where-
Reliant Sen.
Where's the science going to be? Is there going to be science stations? Like,
And the Reliance Sen and the Constellation Aquila.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I
the
mean,
Aquila is more
so-
of an exploration ship, I think.
So yeah, the Reliant Sen.
Yeah, but they were sciencey things too
You're
at that
gonna
top.
probably have to
There
get
was a science station at the
modules
top.
for the Constellation. Maybe the Herald will be able to do some sciencey stuff. Maybe the Terrapin. I mean, they might have those utility mounts
Mhm.
that may allow them to gather data, and that might be part of the science mechanic. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these mechanics are going to overlap. So maybe.
Maybe. And so out of those ships, what are, out of the two, obviously, Torque, don't answer. I know your answer.
Don't even answer. It's so
Bored,
obvious.
I think I know your
Orion.
I think all of us, even for me, it's the Orion.
Yeah, it's such a cool.
It's such a cool looking ship with a rotating thing. It looks like a satellite
Fuck the Crucible.
mining
I mean,
asteroids
the
and shit.
idea of the
The
Crucible,
Crucible
is
is
good.
cool. I mean,
but-
we need it. But in
Well,
comparison,
Orion,
no,
dude.
because instead of getting repaired, you just get good at the game and not get hurt in the first place.
Got him.
remember that.
Yeah,
Bored.
bang. Shots
Remember that.
fired.
But yeah, it's
Sorry. There's no
Yeah, it's the Orion. I
nothing
think.
past the Orion for me. Just
Yeah.
that's. I'm gonna sell all my ships when the Orion
The
comes out.
Carrick should also be able to do science as well,
Oh yeah, Carrick.
right? Yeah.
Carrick would be another sciencey one.
I mean, I suppose
Science
any of the
exploration.
exploration or data mining ships will
Should
probably
be
have
able to
some
do
form of
some sort
exploration.
of
Maybe.
some sort of science. You mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So they might, or no, I mean both. I mean exploration. Some of the exploration ships will probably be able to do exploration.
I love. I love that Jeremiah Lee is more excited than even I am about the Orion. He's just
Yeah, that's
going
all he's
berserk in
spamming
the
about
chat
in
about it.
chat.
Oh my god, I love that ship. I'm glad. I knew I liked him. I knew I liked him.
Now
I knew you're a cool guy.
we get to show some of the best part of the whole convention.
Yeah.
That's procedural.
The
planets.
second best part. Depends on who you are.
Depends on who you are. I don't know. This was pretty
Yeah.
cool, man. Being able to
Yeah.
see the Lear 3 out of the Lear system coming in and knowing that this is all done in it just looks so good. And like the plants and everything, while it isn't like a heavily and I was kind of hoping we would see something like Endor or
Yeah.
something like with a lot of forests or
Like really
rainforests or
foresty?
swamps and stuff. It still looked really, really good, even though
Mhm.
it was more sparse on this planet. The volumetric clouds as well and the atmosphere looked amazing. Like we didn't really see it so much in this demo, but in the editor demo, when they went from one to another, if you watch where the star is, and seeing in one it's like daytime, and the other one it's like the sun is going down, it looks so good. But just seeing like the detail on everything and the different biomes, or like,
I was expecting more differentiation on this planet, but they chose a planet and they're building it out based on the lore.
Right.
And I think, it's more of a deserty type planet.
Well, it's
so
more
fine.
of a temperate planet, isn't it? So it's got a mixture of.
Yeah, but there's no.
Now, do you think?
But there's no like.
Do you think that they
like
also
temperate
did this
areas in the U.S.
because
aren't
of,
like this at all?
Do you think there was any sort of underhanded thing at No Man's Sky because they talked about a desert planet and they showed the sandworm in No Man's Sky and they never really did that? Do you think that there was?
I think there were a lot of influences going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if you look at that worm,
obviously it's very Dune
it is
inspired.
the Dune worm, right?
And I think, I
really,
think
really
this
close.
is Dune inspired, and I think that the No Man's Sky one was Dune inspired. But I think that they also, the part of this was like, No Man's Sky showed this and didn't do it. We're gonna show it and actually do it.
Yeah.
This
and
also
then Jeremiah
right here
says no comment, and I tell you, and I'm not throwing any devs under the bus because every fucking dev did this. Was when people mentioned or said the spice must flow or said something about spice, they would like do something like this. Or say I'm not saying anything,
all kinds
or
of homages,
like
everything.
all sorts of shit to imply, and every friggin' dev did this to imply that there's something spice or something like that related.
Now,
So,
when they flew over the guy that said "Hello, CitizenCon,"
maybe
that mountain looked like the Paramount Mountain, as well. Which was kind of
that was a cool part, and we were all laughing and screaming that we never heard him say it at least I couldn't at the event.
When you watch it again, you can hear it. Hello, CitizenCon!
Yeah.
Which was very cool. But yeah, just seeing like how far they flew out and did all this, and then they had the ship, and then they followed the ship, and all of that stuff was really, really cool.
For sure.
Moving forward,
I just wish I saw more green. That's my only complaint about it.
We have an image here.
That image, I believe, is of the dragonfly showing the not the damage states, but the wear and tear. I think. Because if you look at it, it's all rusted out. Like it's been sitting there for a while.
Yeah, so it could be some of the first implementation of like, just normal wear and tear, not damaged or battle worn, just sort of like it being
sitting there
on
for
a planet and sitting there for a certain amount of time. I really like, that's one of the aspects of Drake and even things like the Reclaimer or the VFG Industrial Hangar that I really like over everything else, is that it looks like it actually is used. So it's going to be exciting for when we see this sort of wear and tear on all the ships and all that stuff. It's going to be like, it's like a little bit gritty. It's been on this desert planet for a while, or been exposed to the elements for a while, and just overall looks really cool.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people caught that, so thank you for that, Kazu. Kazu sent me that one to put in the doc. I thought that this was one of the bigger things that we saw and I don't think it's dirt, and I don't necessarily think it's camo, because if you look at where the wear is, it's around the engine.
Like you can see like around the engines where it's like darker black, and then it's sort of faded, and then you have the rust on the two pods that go out front, and that's what it really looks like to me as well.
Yeah.
And then obviously they showed the editor demo. Now the editor demo had a lot of cool things in it. Not just the editor. And so I'm going to pull it up here. It was cool to watch them build a world, sort of float around from this space station, go down into the world, show that it's all in the editor. And not only is it in the editor, they're able to play stuff, so they don't need to bounce back and forth in the editor. So it makes that, it's just like loading screens, right? Like not having to worry about those loading screens or loading something up and having it crash or do whatever. They're able to do everything right in the editor. And that was really cool. So when they go down,
he just bounces out Port Olisar.
Yeah, he's like, Port Olisar looks familiar, but the planet behind it isn't. And
Yeah.
so they go down, and the cool thing is you can see the satellite from the ground, right? In
Yeah,
all
and
of
you can
its
see the
detail.
rings moving and everything. That was
Yeah.
I love what they've done with those LODs. So those levels of detail allow you to have simulated, genuine, effectively mountain ranges which make your horizon. They allow you to
Yep.
see ships passing above you in space if you could see them.
And like how the
And-
atmosphere looks, and
Yeah,
the
that's simulated as well,
clouds
isn't it? The
and all
blue
that stuff.
light
All
being
of it is.
scattered, apparently.
yeah,
So
The
it's-
best part is what we're looking at now. They're just straight up simulating a sunset by flying backwards away from it.
Yeah, just
Crazy.
by going down
Amazing.
to the ground. It's
But that's
cool,
what I
and
mean.
seeing like the how a moon would be seen or a planet would be seen. You see that.
Oh
now.
yeah,
like
but that's
all of that
and that's
stuff.
what something that that's their jab at No Man's Sky, in my opinion. It's
Yeah.
this is simulated. This is
Yeah.
a genuine galaxy simulator now.
And how they're
weather
able to
system.
build stuff on a sphere was I think
Yeah.
something that a lot of people may take for granted and may not understand. This isn't like a flat plane like you would normally have for any other game. This
Yeah.
is a full sphere. So when you're building the water out over a certain distance, it needs to be rounded, right? Or it needs to be whatever to go with the rest of the planet. So you have these large oceans that are going to be curved, and you're going to see that if you fly out far enough or whatever. And just the way that they built it and showing the scale of things, right? When they show, okay, here's a nomad, and they're showing this right now, and then they zoom out, and it's like, yeah, you forget the scale that you're working on. Is like,
Yeah.
this isn't just a whole planet, it's a whole system, or it's a whole whatever. And
that was the essential need for that procedural generation. They need to
Right.
do those huge areas quickly and then
go
use their
through.
powerful tools
and then
to
add
make
in
them.
those specific areas that they want to add in, and just let the rest of the stuff sort of be procedural. Now, what they did here
Can
was
you-
they showed how quickly they built in the little area with the water and bringing in a
Mhm.
building right away and throwing in the crab family and making changes in the sizing of them and
crab
rotating stuff
family.
around. And then they threw in a ship and got in a ship and flew away out of the ship. Right? It was all just
Yeah.
really seamless, and being able to do that, doing the paint over stuff,
They
changing the biomes.
they didn't only just fly away in a ship. It was the first time that we saw the AI form up with us. So Mark Hamill's character, technically,
Yeah.
I think, formed up with us in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and we jumped to the same place. He popped up on our screen in the game
The other thing, I don't know if you noticed,
and said
was
something.
in-ship emotes.
Yeah,
Where he
yeah,
did
they
the
did
little
like a
salute
little.
and like
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
wave
yeah.
and the salute. Now, I don't know if
Yep.
that's something that just goes along with when you're talking to him or whatever, or if it's something that you'll actually be able to control yourself. So you can look over to, if you're flying in formation with someone, and just give them a little salute or a little okay, and then they just take off.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go on a little rant about the actual
her.
demo.
Give her.
What really kind of annoyed me was that Chris was like, and any devs here, please shit on me if I'm wrong.
Well, I'll
but,
take a shit on you. I'm not even a dev.
or anybody.
Boards into that kind of shit. No
Chris
pun
was like,
intended.
Love it.
Chris goes, "Hey, look at the make sure you look at the FPS at the top," and it's like, who gives a shit what the FPS is? You're
I give a
showing
shit.
me a game. No, why? Because
is-
you're showing me a game. Listen, hold on. You're showing me a game that is meant to be played in multiplayer. You're literally there sitting by yourself. There's
Yes and no.
nobody else in the game. So why the fuck does the FPS matter when the FPS only matters if I'm playing with other people on this planet?
Because it'll
So
also
that's
be
so you
in
can say
Squadron
anything you
42.
want.
Yeah,
It'll
I'll
also
let you
be
go
in
first,
Squadron
Cyrus.
42. That's why. Because it's
Well,
important
okay,
that.
fine.
that-
but
and
where
yes,
are all
yes.
the
No,
AI?
hang on. So yes, I agree with
This
you.
is my rant. No.
Fuck
Go
you!
ahead.
You're gonna listen to me now. So the thing is we know that the big issue is the network stuff. They're not fucking showing the network stuff. They're showing the optimization of this giant fucking planet running at 120 frames a second. Whether there's no AI or whatever on there, the fact that they have this, and we know it's not just one planet, it's multiple planets with the star and space and space stations moving around in the background. Yeah, I agree. You know, there's no AI, there's no subsumption, you don't have thousands of players in there yet. But a lot of that stuff is the network stuff. And on the network, the fact that they're able to show all the different LODs and be able to stream all of this in at that high of a frame rate is amazing. Right? So I get it.
And
I get where you're coming from, but the fact that they
like,
can
why show it? Who cares?
It's the first
step
pass, it
one of
does
the
matter.
process, Twerk.
Yeah,
It's literally step
the
one.
first
We need
step
to
of
make
it.
sure that we can
Showing
have high
that,
frame rates.
hey,
But
we have
it's like playing the 2.0 and offline and being like, oh man, look at the frames, it's so great.
But it is
Oh,
important.
shares.
It is important.
Most games are
because
restricted
when you
frame
go
rate-wise
into
by the server. We're in a very special alpha where that's the case. So this is important to
Right.
anyone that hasn't been burnt by Star Citizen's low frame rates before.
Yeah.
right.
Like
It
you
is
say,
important
here's
to
the thing,
show
though.
that the
We can all
LODs
say
and
it's
everything are
amazing.
important.
But when they drop people in the game, if you look, coming down to the planet,
Remember,
fucking
we also
fantastic.
don't
The
have the
FPS
new
was great.
network code.
As soon as they got near the ship, it went down to 60 FPS or lower.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So another thing, there was no NPCs in that ship with us. There was no other players in that ship with us.
Right.
Mhm.
What if those things were in there? Then what would the
Right.
FPS
But all
would
those
be-
things
would be?
haven't been
That's kind of the
optimized yet
point I'm
either.
making. That Chris is like, oh, look at the FPS, but it's in a non-realistic
I think it was
gameplay experience.
more important to show that the FPS was at its full planetary stuff and coming in for that first little bit was more important than anything else. Yes, I agree. The when you came up to any of the objects and things like that, the LODs aren't optimized or whatever, and you're getting the lower frame rates. I get that. But I think the most important part of the FPS being there was when they flew in, showing the planets at the full
Yeah,
scale,
look at
streaming that
what we
all the
can
way in,
render on a
all the way
large
up
scale.
into the thing,
LODs,
and that was
how
really,
we
really
do them.
important. Right, the LODs
Yeah.
important for the planets and the planet tech
Well,
because that's what they were showing off. They weren't showing off, oh, look
Yeah.
at the
It's
optimizations
important
for the
to
network or
it's im-
anything like that.
Important to show that they can do this level of scale and it doesn't run at 2 frames.
I understand
that's
that.
the thing that they're
But
trying
and
to
I
show.
that's
agree with
cool,
you.
And I get what
I
everybody's
wanted to
saying,
see-
but that still annoyed me
I
for
wanted-
those
Oh no,
reasons.
it is an unrealistic environment.
Right.
We don't
Yeah.
have drivers by
People are gonna
NVIDIA
have
or
things in their
AMD
head
yet.
about it. People are going to think that they can run this fucking thing at 100 and something FPS, and
But they will be able
you-
to.
They
But
may be able
when the
to.
game is optimized to work, it will be a lot better. I mean, they'll have
course.
drivers for everything. There's no drivers built for Star Citizen yet.
There's a
That's why
lot
you
of
have to
things
dodge
that
everything to work.
aren't done.
like,
for
listen,
Star
we've been a
Citizen.
part of this project forever. So when we like, and then this isn't just me saying this
Yeah,
to you,
yeah.
but everyone's saying it in the chat too. I obviously get that this shit's unoptimized.
Right. The
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah.
thing isn't even the optimization. The biggest thing for us right now is the network code. And the thing is, we're going to be
Yeah,
getting the
Star's
network
the
code
network.
with this. So they can't show it because they don't have the network code to show that stuff, obviously. That's why they're showing us these demos. So
But you'll-
we wait for with bated breath with what it's going to be like when it actually comes out. But for now, this is what they can show. And if they're proud of that 120, 140, 150 frames a second of them streaming that in, I get it. And I understand why, because it is important. It is new technology. It is a massive fucking scale that nobody else has done before. With the detail that they
I am
have.
saying it, Source, is because I don't think a lot of I'm thinking like you too. I understand, but I
Mhm.
don't think a lot of people and a lot of the backers, when seeing that,
I don't
or
think a
new
lot of people
are
or a
gonna
lot of the
think like-
backers appreciate the fucking editor demo either.
No,
but it's
but-
important that they show that stuff for the people who do. And it's just a small
Okay,
number in the corner.
I
Do you
I
understand what I'm
understand-
saying though? You
I
get the point.
understand
I
what
get
you're
what
saying
you're
as well,
saying.
New
Twerk,
people are
with
gonna see it,
it's
and they're gonna have unrealistic expectations.
well, it's an unrealistic test environment.
Mhm.
That test environment's not going to be in our hands. We're going to be playing multiplayer, and there's going to be a lot more stuff happening. You're totally
Yes.
correct. Also, we're not going to be offline like they were. We're not going to have the same rigs that they have, and all that sort of
Yeah,
shit.
our
So
rigs aren't going to be as good as the one they were using. So
Well,
showing that
mine's-
FPS,
mine's better than their rig.
what
So,
did they have? That's why, because mine isn't.
The rigs that they had were 53. Oh, 1 second. I've actually got it written down on, and you can see this too.
We're seeing
on
this-
Redacted.tv.
Before
you can go to the
you
latest
do
post
that,
there.
I'm going to cut you off really quickly because this is where they just got into the ship and they're going to fly
Yes.
to another planet in the editor. So just do
Yeah.
me a favor, and if you're watching this on the stream or on YouTube or whatever, watch where the sun is here and then watch where it is there, and it stays in the same place, and it's just really fucking cool when you're in space and then you come in and now it's sunset and it's beautiful.
Yeah, this was really awesome. Argument over. because of
Yeah.
awesome features.
Because of awesome features and whole new biomes on this planet. It's all sulfur, and you have this green water, and the rock formations and everything are completely different. And it just looks really cool. And they're flying into this place that kind of looks like Levski or whatever. I don't know if it is, but they're flying
Looks
into this.
acidic.
Yeah, it's all like
And-
acidic
and
some-
not
some
safe
form
to
of
go out
lightning
in
It's
the
gonna sound like it
helmet.
smells or whatever. But yeah, our rage can be scary.
Yeah.
Rawr!
Sorry, guys. But I think that's why we have a good podcast is we disagree, and it's not like fucking ESPN where they take a
Well-
side on purpose and
Yeah.
one person argues an unrealistic thing.
Well,
I think we
let's,
both had a pretty fair argument there.
let's have a look at the system specs as well then, because they were running i7 5820Ks.
Okay.
So that's a relatively good new processor. Although I think stronger core performance is actually better rather than more threads. It's a personal opinion. They were using
Well,
one
it
of the
depends
best.
on how they optimize it. To be fair.
Indeed. They had one of the best 1080s, which was the Asus ROG Strix 1080. That is one of the best 1080s on the market. 64 gigs of DDR4 RAM. And yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of
basically-
RAM.
That's a lot of RAM. But I think they would just probably give them the PCs effectively, I'm assuming, by someone, or they're given all the stuff. So they went, let's
Oh,
make it
there's
as
that
best as we
emote.
can.
He just did that emote.
Yeah.
So-
And he
one of the
took
other things
off-
I-
Oh man, it's so
sorry.
cool. No, I'm
If-
sorry. I'm just watching this, and it's amazing every time I watch it. And now he's
if you
gonna
watch
go out
when
to
the
the
ship
Idris.
moves, he moves in formation as well.
He does
Yeah.
move in formation, doesn't he? Which is one of the things they wanted for the AI subsumption stuff.
Yeah, so cool.
After we've seen the
I
ship
wish
hit
they would
there-
have shown, and I understand why they possibly didn't, but I wish they would have shown you flying into the Idris.
Yeah, I wanted to land on the Idris and then it black
I
out.
wanted
They
to
were
change
about to too, and they were like, too
Change
much.
it.
Like,
And they
ah,
blacked
fuck
out
you.
before that.
So-
Unfortunately.
One of the things I want to talk about with the demo as well was the flickering and artifacting
Mhm.
that would sometimes happen. on
Did
the
you
screen.
okay when you were watching? Did you see the tearing?
There was
Yeah,
screen
so
tearing
the
occasionally.
tearing, the
What?
reason the tearing happened was because the frame rate was higher than
Yeah,
60
run-
frames
run
a second,
errant
and they
frames
didn't have
going
they
crazy.
didn't have VSync
But-
or anything like that on.
Do you know that it was sometimes flickering? Like the terrain was flickering out.
No, so that terrain flickering you saw with the dust storm, that wasn't terrain flickering. I
was
watched it
lightning.
again. That was lightning.
That was lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
but during the actual test, you see some Z fighting.
I think
and
you see.
artifacting.
I thought I saw things popping in and out, but I didn't see any fighting like that.
Oh, did you not see Z fighting? Okay,
No,
I saw.
I only
I
s-
noticed Z fighting like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I only
Um,
saw it with what I thought was. I was like, I couldn't tell when I first saw the sandstorm, and
Yeah,
then
it was
when
the
the
static lightning
sandstorm
stuff, yeah.
passed through, that's when it was like, oh, okay, it's lightning. And when you go and watch it again, if you watch it slower, you can see the actual lightning strikes, and it's just the clouds like light. Oh man, it was so fucking
It was
cool.
really awesome.
Ah, I'm
Yep.
excited for it. And it's like that's one of
And
those
that's
things
simulated,
too.
right?
Well, yeah. So that's one of those things.
It will be.
I think that one
was-
was timed, but
Yeah,
that's
that
going to be
was-
one of
that was
those
scripted.
things that sometimes you'll do the mission and that won't be there. Sometimes you'll do the mission and it will be there, depending on where you are. Like you'll have these roving sandstorms and stuff.
That's the joy of
So
exploration on
awesome.
these planets, isn't it? I mean, they're always going to be different every time. Even if you go back to the same location, it
Yeah.
could be full of Tuscan raiders, again, or whatever, or Geth Jawas, as I think that these things were.
Yeah, they were
Can we talk
they were
about
called
the
nomads.
characters?
Dude, okay, so
I love them.
huge props to my man
To
Jeremiah Lee. So we were sitting there, and I don't think they showed the nomads enough. I thought
No, I
that
ran up to him and said, "Did you do the concept for them?"
so
And he was like, "Yeah."
the
I gave him a hug.
nomads, all of their fabric and everything was all simulated by the wind and all of that other stuff in there as well. And you didn't really get to see it unless they were falling or whatever, because they were just like the dude was killing them too fast. But man, they were so cool. Like, just yeah, I don't know. I did a really fucking awesome job on them.
Gethwa,
And-
Jawa Geth.
Yeah,
Just thought-
like just the nomads were really cool, and just the one thing about the demo that I really liked, and I realized why I like it, but it's so minor, was the fabric. And
Oh
it's,
yeah,
it's like
even on the character.
and you know why I like the fabric, and I figured it out afterwards, is because right now we're playing in space. There is no fabric. There's nothing
Yeah.
going on. There's nothing organic feeling that we have in space right now. And so when
all
you see
sealed.
that, yeah, it's all sealed and hard and like metal or plastics or whatever.
Mhm.
But when you're down on a planet, you have that sort of more organic feel. And that just lent it, like, yeah, okay, you got the wind and stuff, and you have the dust when you're landing on the ships on space stations and stuff, but it still didn't have the organic feel, and that just added to it so much and made it feel much more believable. And so for me, having the different flags and having the nomads and even the tarps that were above some of the things, especially
Real wind.
where they had that, that it felt really cool. And so it just added so. I think that was one of those things that was one of those subtle things that you don't expect to add so much. And we're gonna have a lot of those things come in, I think, over time, that are just gonna be super subtle, but just make it feel so much more believable, I guess, is the best way of putting it.
Yep.
Fucking awesome.
Really fucking awesome. And then you said you have a couple things that if we have time, and I think we have time to do this.
They're just minor things. They're from Reddit, but they're quite interesting. Especially the first one.
Yes.
And then the second one is just images. So the first one's really good for if you're into capsize ships.
So if you want to share this link in chat,
things I learned from Chris.
Yes.
Things I learned from Chris.
Yeah.
So they said they talked to. Oh, if you want, go ahead.
Well, I've got an article about that and the Gamers Nexus stuff on the Redacted website.
Okay, cool.
So it contains that as well and links to all of them.
There we go. Right there. Yeah, post that on there. But yeah, this person had talked to Chris a bit at the Arsenal bar, which was packed. And they learned a couple of things that were interests of you. The Idris update, well, it's not really being withheld from backers because of Squadron 42. It's missing some items like 2.0 stuff, like doors, physics.
Can we remember this came from Reddit though, and it might not all be true?
It might not.
It came from the Reddit,
reports
and it's all unconfirmed. I'm thinking in my head at that point.
Yeah,
but
I'm just going to go really quickly through these points here. The Idris is so large as well. This is something I know they talked about before, that they were internally testing it, but it's just so big and so complex that getting it to go in the PU and getting it to run on the servers, especially now, would just crash it. That being said, it would be really cool if they put in a damaged version of it that you can explore, or be able to spawn it into a drone sim only, so you can fly it around on your own in single player. I think people would really appreciate that. I know for us, it would give us a ton of content, even if it's just by ourselves, to show people moving around on it. Or maybe that's the only ship you can spawn in, and all your friends spawn in on it with you. That would be really cool. Chris doesn't want to put it in the PU until the Star Network can support at minimum 2 of them and several other ships, so it can be a good battle between them. It's no fun for there just to be one in the game. And I get that, but going back to my drone sim, I would like to see it in there as a drone sim or as a crash.
Vandal Swarm. Just have it in Vandal Swarm, just everyone crewing one, like you said. I think that would be hilarious.
It would be
amazing good fun.
Yeah. And the Idris has 50-ish NPCs living on it in Squadron 42. So to give you an idea of how many players and AI are going to be on it, it's probably going to be quite a bit. And then they go on to talk about capital ship NPC crews. In the long term, you should be able to fly larger ships without other players. Using just NPCs. It'll just be very limited in efficiency and quality. Obviously, NPCs will be less quality than humans, since they'll be able to plan and react instantly to commands, and we don't know how they're going to do that yet with the NPCs. This gave you hope. This gave this person hope concerning the numerous multi-crew ships that they pledged for. Star Marine Saddleball is coming in the future. I don't think anybody cares about Saddleball. If you do,
they do, but
I mean, as something that needs to come in right away, I don't think it's anything like that. And then they go on to talk about exploding planets, because if we'd see a reprise of Wing Commander 3, where the Kilrathi home got destroyed with a Trembler bomb. Basically, would we see a planet get destroyed in Star Citizen? And he laughed and said they had kicked it around, but not anytime soon, obviously. The Retribution was talked about briefly.
This was cool.
The Squadron 42 Episode 1 is where it's under construction, and we've seen images and concept of how it's under construction and stuff like that. And then Episode 2 and 3 is when it's flying around and doing things, which makes sense. So that's going to be cool, where you're going to see sort of it coming together and then finally going in there. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, information on there. remember, take it all with a grain of salt, but it does sound pretty legit going off of what we heard of and what we've seen.
And Chris might have had a few and felt like
Chris
talking a little more than normal, so it could be true.
Yeah. And then we have an image here. Let's take a look and see what this is. Oh, this was really cool.
Yeah.
The province, the Skyrim thing. So, to give some scale, now there's no banana here, but from where they landed to where the javelin was is the total length of Skyrim.
Yeah.
And it's like when you zoom out and you see how small that actually is on the planet, and then you realize that there's multiple planets and everything else, like you can see the space station up here, right? Like that's insane. Like this is
nuts.
3 kilometers.
Granted, in Skyrim, the fastest thing you're riding on is a friggin' horse,
but
right?
You can
insane.
Explore this whole place on foot if you want. You can do it all on Dragonfly or in the other things, and it's like,
you know what,
man,
Soros? But you can't do it on a horse, and I'm just no.
We don't know that.
I'm sad about it. We don't know that yet. Who knows?
Do you think that with the Star Engine, with this technology they've effectively made, once it gets polished and everything, and it is fully its own engine, we're going to start to see games like Skyrim ported onto it?
Mm-hmm. Possibility.
I think it's a strong possibility. I love this idea so much. I love this stuff.
Where you have it's just a planet, and that's a whole world. You have a whole world like World of Warcraft or something, or like Ultima Online or whatever. That's all just one planet, and that's all they need. They don't need to do the space stuff. They can just do literally one planet, and that's it's very cool. Very cool.
I do want to buy a horse now, though.
I know. Do the horses come with LTI though?
LTI horse is confirmed.
Cool. Thanks.
You have to make your own horse character.
Now there are some more
stuff.
There's some more stuff down here, and once again, I think we have plenty of time.
This stuff is all from. This isn't. I didn't put this in. So this isn't actually to be read.
Okay, so what is this?
Unless you can deduce Boredgamer's notes, which.
Are these
you may not be able to. Yeah, these were his notes of the Gamers Nexus stuff for me to add in. So, Bored, if you want to talk a bit about the Gamers Nexus stuff, I didn't have time to add it all in.
What notes you talk? Where have you put this?
Under the dock. Just keep scrolling down.
Under the dock. Got Galactopedia.
Yeah, where that is.
Well, yeah, and obviously the next hangar.
No, these are my notes. What are you chatting about?
Those aren't your notes?
No.
Oh, okay, maybe this is super old from a really old podcast.
I obviously didn't delete this bit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's some things in here. I'm like,
I thought those were Bored's notes about the Gamers Nexus stuff.
You want to see Magic Trick?
No.
Yeah. They're gone. He just deleted them.
That's it.
So that was from a really old podcast.
We are going to have time for questions because we did plan for this to be 3 to 4 hours. So if you do have a question...
You're talking about 4.
Listen to this guy. I was expecting it to be longer than that. This guy. If you do have questions, !question in chat, and we will hopefully get to them. We are gonna, depending on how many we have to go through, which I'm going to it right now. And Jesus, okay, we got a lot. So
like half an hour ago, they told me there was 40 questions.
Yeah, there is.
It's got to be
as
a
of right
round,
now,
Soros,
we have 47.
Yeah, we got a
questions.
lightning round.
Okay, so first question comes from Syracuse23. Actually, Twerk, I'm going to get you to read them, and I'm going to come back again.
You read the first couple because I don't have it up yet.
I'm not at my computer.
I can't fucking read them now.
Okay, fine, I'll read them. Jesus, I'll hold it.
Read the single P, I'll get it up.
Shh. Do you think CIG should try to make Star Citizen more of a unique thing, rather than just put all this sci-fi fantasies? Sandworms are cool, but wouldn't it be a new unique creature if they had done more to make Star Citizen unique and original experience?
I'll tell you what's a unique creature. You play some No Man's Sky and see the shitty unique creatures they've got in that.
Yeah.
And how coherent will the Star Citizen universe feel if it's just a Frankenstein monsters of all the cool sci-fi stuff we know and love? Now, I think they are going to have their own unique stuff, but I also think that they're going to pay homage to everything that came before it. And to be honest, I think that's cool. That brings in more people that would maybe be interested in Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica or Star Wars or The Expanse or Dune
You say
or
Star
whatever.
Wars like that. Star Wars.
By the way, did you see The Expanse got picked up by Netflix?
I did.
Oh yeah, it's going to
For
be
something?
amazing to work.
I'm
It's
excited.
going to be a full space drama now. And I like
No,
the fact they described it
It
like
just
that.
got picked up to show the episodes on Netflix. So you don't need Sci-Fi Channel to see it, which is cool.
Which is awesome.
I think that we're going to get multiple seasons of it now.
Yeah, because they're making more money, maybe.
And somebody's saying that
Good
we
time.
met face to face for the first time. We met face to face like a year ago. So
Yeah.
not true. There's been sexual tension this whole time. Okay, now I'm gonna go.
Questions from
You have
me.
the questions up, right?
Yes, I do.
Excellent.
All right, so the next one is from Magnetron GW2. Do you guys think we will get in-mountain mining, for example, mining ore inside of a mountain where a ship can't reach? So you need a rover to pull out the ore and load it into your spaceship, creating a whole mining operation on the ground. I don't think you're just going to need a rover. I think there's going to be situations where you're going to have to get out of your ship and mine manually with like a handheld type of thing. What do you think, Board?
I certainly think there's going to be surveying done like that. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to. Maybe you will be able to do mining like that. But maybe you'll
Because
have to
you
go to
remember-
mining facilities on planets.
Yeah, you remember the Tony Z interview on ATV or whatever, where they talked about the initial implementation of mining and salvage might be kind of in that first person experience at a much smaller scale, I think is what he said.
Yeah, I mean,
So it might be the first implementation of mining might not be the way
for
you
me-
think it.
for me,
Okay.
that's still surveying almost. If you're doing it by hand, it's like, oh, there's some cool rocks here.
Yeah, let me sift those with a
Yeah.
little pan. What if pan sifting 1,000 years from now is still the way to do things?
And maybe it is. Then you bring your
Any
prospector in and
games
shoot the big
about-
laser.
That would be pretty funny. But yeah, I think it will be of that scale, and I think it can be even smaller. So yeah. So
Maybe. Why not?
yeah, why not? Next question. Lion Star Citizen says, "Hi guys. Because of the
Hey.
Spectrum coming out, I was wondering if you're going to start a Star Citizen company now. I want to join the Redacted company. Just saying, would be much fun. Thanks again, guys. You are all awesome."
Well, we
are
Unlikely.
going to do
I
something
think-
with
I
Redacted,
think-
aren't we?
There's things we're
No,
gonna
we're
do,
gonna-
but we're not
we-
gonna start an org. I don't think.
Well, you kind of have to, I think, is what it makes it seem like. So there might be an org, but it might not be a functioning org, as in we do things in game necessarily. But me and Board also talked about that org maybe being the people that you play with on a regular basis on your streams or whatever.
We are going to discuss it further between us three.
Yeah,
But-
it's.
There will be some redacted presence in Spectrum for
Yeah.
1,000%.
We'll figure
certain.
it out. We'll figure it out somewhere.
Yeah.
I
Source,
can
if you want to
questions
take over,
again.
you can.
Seth
We're on
Nix.
Seth. Nix.
Yep. Seth Nix asks, who of you will make it to CitizenCon 2017 in Frankfurt, and why is it all of you? Because I think all of us really want to go, and I think the next one is going to be hopefully better than this one.
I
Now,
actually think
Board's
people
gonna
will be
jump in.
people will be angry at me if I don't go, so I will definitely go
This
to
one
this
is
one.
definitely closer to you, and hopefully you can go. Work, you're going to go to this one as well, right? I think this is the one event that.
God, I want to go to okay. I don't care to go to CitizenCon. I don't. I
See,
care
for-
to meet people,
Yeah.
but I
think-
also really, really, really want to go to the Frankfurt office.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it's not about CitizenCon to go. It's about this is where I meet all the content creators that we do stuff
Yeah.
with. This is where I get to meet all of the fans and all of that stuff. And especially with it being in Frankfurt and knowing that we have large European audiences as well. I love that face you just made, by the way, Board. And all of the meeting
scared
those
by my
guys,
mic.
like even this time was you think it was a spider? And yeah. And meeting all the fans and stuff like that was very. I don't know what the word is, but
Or
It-
inspiring.
it was very inspiring. To meet everybody and to take pictures with people and say hi and be able to sit down and like just share moments that I'm gonna remember, with people in real life and being able to put faces to names and be able to do all of that with you guys was really important. And so for me, the biggest convention of this year and of probably every year going forward, because of what I do, is CitizenCon. And it's not because of the content that they show. It has nothing to do with the actual convention itself.
It's the people that
It's-
are there.
It's the days before and during that you get to spend with the people that are there.
Yeah.
And it was honestly, it was amazing. And for me, that's what made, like, as much as the presentation kind of sucked, like being able to sit there with Jeremiah Lee and all the other guys and hang out with Twerk and be able to see everybody and have guys like hang out with John Zamari, who came all the way from Sweden, or
All the way from Sweden. And
like
I
a
didn't spend enough
24-hour
time with
flight.
him, and I have regrets of that.
you know, and all of this stuff, right? Hanging out with Captain Gloom, even though we live like 20 minutes away from each other, for the first time hanging out with Captain Gloom at CitizenCon. Like, all of these things are what made it for me. And so I think that's why we're all going to go to the next one, is because that's why that's what is so important about the whole event.
Yeah, just what we have to do this time is make sure that we have a setup where we can, like, I know now that we could stream from our phones. Trophius,
I will.
like,
I
had
also,
the sickest app.
I can't
Like,
officially announce anything, but I know that it's streaming from conventions going forward is not going to be an issue.
oh, cool.
I love the way you sidestep.
Oh, I
that.
know what
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
about. I know what that's about. You're not referring to Star Citizen saying anything to you
No,
about
no,
people going.
No.
I know what that's about, but let's clear that one up.
Pure Vengeance asked me, what in Star Citizen am I most looking forward to in the future?
Why not us? Why do they always do that?
I don't know. We're gonna
They're so
ask
fucking rude, these guys.
It's not a question specific to me. I'm gonna ask everybody. So for me, I'm in the immediate future is Star Marine. I really, 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 really want that FPS stuff. So and I'm gonna be playing a lot of this. This is gonna become the FPS Star Marine channel for a while. It kind of already is, and it's gonna be like that for a while until 3.0 comes out, and then we're gonna play 3.0. Then we're gonna probably go back to Star Marine.
That's Star Marine, yeah, same as me. That's exactly the same
And
as me.
then 3.0 is gonna turn into Arma for me, where we just hang out on planets and do all that kind of cool stuff. But what about you, Twerk?
I'm not gonna answer this because he didn't ask me.
Oh,
Sorry,
look what you did. You hurt his feelings.
No, I'm just
Identical-
kidding. I want mining. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Um,
Exactly the same way as you saw us. Exactly the same
Yeah.
way with that.
So yeah, we'll probably be playing, even though we're not in the same org and we may not share the same views. We can be on the same team in Star Marine because it's completely separate of everything else.
Until after Operation Pitchfork spin, me we'll all be friends together.
Well, honestly, like Star Marine, even if we're not friends in the game, Star Marine is a simulated thing where you can.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to do whatever.
Practice.
It should be
Hey,
completely separate.
Saurus,
Yo,
before we go on to the next question, do you still have the podcast doc up?
yes.
Can you go to the very top? It says Community Hub. I put a link there that somebody just posted in chat. It's hilarious.
Yes. This image.
And we do know that we get quite a bit of watches or listens on radio, so we're gonna have to describe this, like, so people listen to the podcast on their phones and stuff in the car.
Christmas, I want a dragon. Be realistic. Okay, then I want Squadron 42. What color do you want your dragon?
I thought that was pretty
Red.
hilarious.
That is
So
pretty funny.
yeah, maybe we'll give the link to Board and he can put it in the description or something.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
And then you can watch it or look at it while I read along to it.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Best voice acting, NA.
Yeah.
So I preferred you when you were the reclaimer. You were very good in that reclaimer role.
Tank House Mob asks, what do each of you think the best solo exploration / light mining or gathering setup will be? Dragonfly, Ursa Rover instead of an Aquila? What do you think are the benefits and drawbacks between carrying a rover versus a dragonfly is, and vice versa? Well, I mean, a rover carries more people, for sure,
And
but
cargo.
and cargo. However, a dragonfly isn't limited by terrain, so it can go over water and things. So it really depends on what kind of planet you're on.
You're more
And
likely to
what
get
it
eaten
is
by
you're
a
trying to do.
sandworm or shot in the face on a dragonfly. That's why
Although there's a
I saw
shield on the
demos.
dragonflies. And we saw that too, like the shield protected them.
Oh
Yeah. So it really depends on what it is that you want to do. If you're talking about exploration, light mining, probably the rover. The rover
Yeah,
seems to make more sense for that.
because you have some cargo space,
Mm-hmm.
which you're gonna need.
Ludlick asks, what do you think forests will be like on planets? Will we get density like in Crisis? Also, what type of unique biomes are you guys looking forward to? Yes, I think we're going to get that.
Yep,
And
some
Because they
areas.
already have the ability if it was in
Yeah.
Crisis, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that they very much want to make things like, forests like we have in the Pacific Northwest or rainforests, or I think they want to reproduce all the biomes we have on Earth, as well as possibly, like we saw in the demo, different ones as well, like that sulfur planet and things like that.
Mhm.
So, what kind of unique biomes do you think you're looking forward to the most? I think the Cloud City stuff might be kind of cool, but that's not really
Yeah,
something you can go down.
I'm more
into.
curious. I'm curious how they're gonna do that.
Like giant gaseous planets.
Yeah.
I want to see, are they going to be able to paint on buildings? As I know that's what you talked about in the detector. He went
From
question mark,
what-
maybe.
I was talking to devs at CitizenCon,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that tech actually isn't as hard as you think. So
That's
what that
awesome if they can
means,
paint
and,
on-
and
paint on those
even Chris
giant
during
cityscapes.
even Chris said during the presentation while they were painting on those stuff, they said and buildings in the future. So I don't know how far they are with that. I imagine there's a lot more work that needs to go into it initially before they can do that to make sure it all lines up properly and there's not like weird cutoffs and stuff, because with rocks it doesn't really matter. But with so we're gonna have to kind of see it and see how they do that. But looked pretty cool. Dreamkill asks, I think it was in the UK tour we saw a hint that Misk racing ship was in progress, but you didn't see it in the CitizenCon list. Does this mean that they're not going to do it, or it's just going to be a surprise? I think there's a lot of ships they didn't talk about. For one,
Yep.
all the alien ships. They didn't announce any of those. I think for a lot of the military ships, I think there's a lot of ships we're not going to see, or that there aren't things that they're going to necessarily announce.
Squadron
that
42
they're-
ships as well. A big list
like-
of them that
like-
they're not they can
like
tell us about
ships
until it's
that we're
released.
not going to see, or ships that they just want to drop in as
And they just are not, they're invisible on the list at the moment to us.
That's right. Bahi asks, were those Sandman in the CitizenCon demo Tavaran? If not, what were they? No, they were nomads. So they were human.
Sand nomads.
They were They were nomads of that planet. So they weren't affiliated with anybody. They weren't quite outlaws. They weren't quite UEE.
Are we sure they were human?
No,
I don't think we're sure they're human either.
I don't
Yeah.
think we're sure.
they were speaking a
100%
weird language, and
They had their faces covered, but they were
I don't
very
wanna-
human-like.
I don't want
They
to get
were
Jeremiah in
human
trouble,
size.
so I'm not going to say what he said in my chat today. I don't think yet, unless he says it himself.
He says
Jeremiah
he said they're
originally
not Tavaran.
concepted them. I hope he remembers what he said, and he can say it in the chat, and I'll repeat it if he wants to.
It's currently said they're not Tavaran.
Tusken Raiders.
They might be human.
Or
Smiley
they might
face.
not. Yeah. So that pretty much says what. I'm not going to say anything. Because I feel like he wasn't supposed to say what he said.
He can say it if he.
Yep.
Well, they might not. Yeah, I mean, he can say
If
it.
he
If,
wants
We'll
to say
continue
it,
on,
then-
and we'll come back to it if he says anything.
Chris asks, with procedural planets being a thing, do you think they should model Earth realistically? And he's not talking about scale. For example, coastlines, mountain ranges, continents, and different biomes. I think they're going to do that. I think that if they do anything less than that, with the coastlines, biomes, like Rocky Mountains, the Alps, and all that stuff, I think they're going to do that. I don't know how they're going to do the city stuff, but I think that the actual... and I think it's actually easier than you imagine. Because what they can do is they can import the height map data, and it's just done,
Yeah.
right? Adding the cities and adding the different biomes and stuff like that is going to be the harder part, and I think that they're going to do that. But doing the coastlines, mountain ranges, the continents, all that stuff is actually really easy by importing that data. Did he say anything?
no, I'm just watching the chat. He's gone. He's gone
We're watching
silent.
it like a hawk.
News come in. He's just lost his job.
Yeah.
Thanks, Twerk. You're a prick. That's
No.
what he said. No, I'm joking.
He said something interesting, and I didn't mention it in my chat because I feel like he wasn't supposed to say it either earlier.
Look at. He's sharing info with you and not me. I'm disappointed, Jeremiah. I'm disappointed. Commander
Because I'm
Wolf.
cooler. Can't help it. We're Orion brothers.
Which con do you think was better, Gamescom or CitizenCon? CitizenCon for me because I was there. But I think Twerk can answer that. I think this should have been a Twerk question.
Gamescom.
Yeah,
I agree.
The demo was way better. It was way more polished. It made more sense. They didn't trick us, or they didn't say there was one thing and not another.
We didn't have expectations.
Yeah, you had no
Gamescom.
expectations,
Yeah.
and
Blew us
whatever
up with amazingness.
preconceived notions you had of it were blown away. So.
And it was blown away twice. It was the halfway through the demo we thought it was going to end, and then it was like, and then now there's another mission. What?
Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
And for me, and personally for me, it was better because I got to meet more of my viewers there. A majority of my viewers were at Gamescom when everybody that came up to me was like, "Sorry, I never get to watch your streams, but I really like you." It's like, okay.
Actually, there was a lot of that, like of people at both TwitchCon and PAX and whatever. They'd come up to me and just point at me and be like, "Redacted." I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "Sorry, can't ever watch any of your streams or the YouTube videos, but we listen to it on iTunes or whatever." And listen, that's equally as awesome. So I appreciate it. We love it. We really do. It doesn't like. I know that our times may not work for a lot of people, or some people just don't have the time and they can only listen to it on the way to work. We do appreciate that.
That being said, I got to meet countless viewers.
Yeah, being able to meet people was amazing.
Well, that's what CitizenCon was about. It was about that interaction with fans, with other people that are fans like us. And it was a celebration of it, and it was great because of that. And the event itself and all the meetups and the after parties and stuff, they were awesome. Mm-hmm. And even people waiting in queue, they had actually people coming out feeding them and giving them water and stuff. Even that was organized well. So I liked that. I liked all of the running of the event. It was just that void in the presentation that was annoying.
I think there was you liked the entire running of the event of CitizenCon? I think there was a few things that could have been done a lot better. Actually, more than a few things. It was very unorganized from my perspective of me being there. Everything seemed to be last minute. There were a lot of delays at the very beginning that nobody knew what was going on, and it was fucking hot as shit outside, making people wait in line for however long people were there.
Gamescom was worse.
Yeah.
With that,
I'm just going by what I knew.
People were yelling
why
at
there was
me.
Delays
people were yelling at me in the line, and I'm like, I don't even work here.
Yeah.
And they were screaming at us.
There was a lot of things that could have been done better, and I think
I know why at Gamescom.
A lot of it felt thrown together and very last minute when it shouldn't have. A lot of it, including not just including the
waiting outside. Do you know what was
at Gamescom? It was because they were practicing the demo a couple more times.
At CitizenCon, I have no idea. I think they were just last minute on everything. But I just think it was really, really unorganized.
It was likely the same reason.
Like there were a lot of things that happened to me that they needed to grab me for that I didn't know about beforehand. There were all kinds of things that luckily I wore the proper stuff. They didn't tell me until an hour after I was already there, which luckily I was already good. Like there was a lot of things that was just like, what? And even those things were tweeted at me or from like Captain Flint or whoever because he got told and I wasn't told. And
okay.
It was very, very, very unorganized from that respect. Moving forward, Lock Ravenford asks, so the Polaris has 6-man turrets, 2 support stations, and size 6 torpedoes, while the Tally is 5-man turrets, 2 support stations, and smaller torpedoes. It seems that they will require similar crew for full combat effectiveness. So is it, in your opinion, a bad idea to have both given the overlap? I think they both have different roles. I think one is
and the Polaris is way larger.
Yeah,
and
larger.
Will have much more.
Yeah, and like you said, the size 6 torpedoes are giant compared to.
And there's a lot more of them than just 2.
Right, and I think that having the overlap and having backup is important. Having redundancy is going to be important in crews.
I very much think that Polaris is a super retaliator.
Yeah.
And I prefer I think it would be semi-pointless to have both. I think that you could get a different ship to fill better roles.
I think that the Retaliator is better against smaller ships, while the Polaris is aimed at dealing with bigger ships.
I disagree. I think the Polaris is going to be pretty good at smaller ships as well, and I think the Retaliator is going to have problems with smaller ships.
Okay. We will
Just
have
'cause
to
of
see,
its-
but I think redundancy is important overall. I think we should have multiple of cargo ships, multiple of mining ships, multiple of all this
A
stuff.
different
Whether
company.
they're having them not only be different companies, but just different ships in general. That you have those choices on some of the other things. And I know we're not going to have that necessarily with every role going in, but I think over time it's important that they have that variety.
What ship would you pair with the Polaris? Given
And
a
someone's
free,
saying it's 24 size 6 torpedoes?
28.
28?
Yeah.
It's a lot different
It's a
than
big
two size 2 torpedoes or whatever the Retaliator
And
is.
size
Size
6,
5.
larger than
Yeah,
3
size
men
6.
stuck together torpedoes.
Yeah.
But what would, if you guys had a free ship that you could have to pair to go inside the hangar of the Polaris, what ship would you have?
Gladiator Hornet.
Mine would
You want a
probably-
dogfighter to protect against other dogfighters.
What about you, Saurus? Twerks is to protect against from other dogfighters.
For me,
Yeah.
mine would be to complement what it is. I would say Retaliator.
Well,
Too-
that
too
wouldn't
big.
fit.
It big.
It is too
So
big. but
you have
if
the
you
choice
had-
of a
okay,
gladiator.
so a
basically.
gladiator. A gladiator.
I see. Okay, Gladiator's good. I want the Terrapin. I was thinking about it and going, the Terrapin's
Just
tiny.
as you said that, 2 people said it in the chat too. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Terrapin all the way because it's a tank. It's good for scouting. It's going to be a great drop ship. It's going to be good for search and rescue. And I think that, and it almost convinced me to buy Polaris based on I could pair it with a Terrapin in the end. But
All right, and Matt Sherman just popped in and said, "Wait for the QA before all the sizes are locked in on the torps. Since the tech overview on the
obviously,
website has them listed at size 10s, still 28 total available, 4 tubes, 24 spares. And I think that QA was supposed to come out today. I don't know if it's out yet.
Oh, the other thing
Matt-
too is whenever we talk about stats, no matter what, until the game is actually launched, and even then, there's going to be
They
changes.
will change.
Keep in mind
Yep.
with that. Okay, so anything that we say here isn't necessarily set in stone. It is something that is going to be iterated and changed upon, and even after the game is out, those stats are going to change. Balance is an ongoing, ever-evolving beast.
Matt,
Keep
if
that
you
in
can
mind.
make a Vanguard fit in the Polaris, I'll buy one.
Yeah, that's what I would pair it with if I could. But yeah, I
A
don't think
Hoplite
it'll-
or a Sentinel. I think would be
Yeah.
amazing choices with it. So
Yeah.
Maybe a
Moving
Herald.
forward, Commander
Maybe a
Riker
Herald.
asks, "Hey guys, thanks for all your hard work. With 3.0 focusing on cargo and trade, it seems like the economy will be a heavy component. How do you think
Sure.
banks will function in Star Citizen, both in initial release and the end goal? Simple like a piggy bank, or more complex features like loans based on credit or currency commodity trading, similar to stocks, or even legal gambling?" So I think you hit the nail on the head. I think at first it's going to be more like a piggy bank, and eventually as more and more features come on, you're going to see stocks for different commodities. You're going to see loans. They've talked about loans before coming in. So if you don't have enough money to pay for insurance or buy a new ship or whatever, you can take loans out at an increased rate or whatever. So yes, I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I don't know what else could be added to that, to be honest. I don't think you're going to see player run banks, but who knows? You may see player run lending.
I mean, I doubt we'll see any form of banks for quite a while.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll be a while before that's in, I think.
you don't need to keep your money safe. Your money's safe in the cloud, in the bank, ready as it were, and you
Yeah.
can store your stuff in your hangar. So,
I don't see them like a traditional bank being a thing.
no, but they might
But I
do.
think
They
we're
might
going
do
to see
stocks, and
stocks.
shares.
I
and
think
stuff,
we're going to
maybe.
see loans
Maybe.
and things like that.
Well, if you go to the
yeah, they have
the
it-
trade
they've-
division on
they've talked
ArcCorp,
about
they
it
have
and
kind
they
of a
show it.
stock
Well-
wall already going down. So for different
I think-
I
commodities.
think
useful.
they are things they want to include. I just don't think we're going to see them until after all the other mechanics are in.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that it will be there on release. Personally, I think those things.
Yeah.
Which should
It's a
excite
major
you
part of
guys
the
as economy guys.
Yeah,
Jamie
it's a major part of
Trombone
the economy. It needs to be there.
says the gameplay from CitizenCon showed the enemies being utter trash at shooting. I think that was
On
intentional.
purpose?
Yep. But
Yeah.
they were an untrained militia. How dangerous do you think the average hostile, for example, raiders, pirate, UE, police, citizen militia should be? I think it's going to scale on how, like, I think just like
type of
players.
mission it is
Well, I
scale,
also
right?
think like just like the players, right? It should scale. Some players are going to be good. Some players are going to be bad. It's not going to be even across all the board.
I think the idea is to have the Star Citizens, us guys, as effectively heroes in the game. So we are going to be better than most NPCs. Like,
But there
and
will
that's why-
be some NPCs, especially the higher end ones, that are going to be really good.
Yeah, but I still
or-
don't think they're going to be as good as a human player. They might be better equipped and therefore be able to kick the ass of a human, but I don't think that they'll necessarily be better, as in they're not going to shoot you in the head. I think that's the reason that NPC crew.
Depending
aren't
on
gonna
what
be
it
as effective
is,
as
I
humans.
think that if you have your NPC security guards on a planet and you pull out a weapon and shoot somebody, that those NPCs there are going to fuck you up. So
they're going to wreck you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
They will
so
wreck you.
I think there's going to be a whole spectrum, and even say the UEE, right, the security. I think you're going to still see a spectrum. Not every UEE NPC is going to be the exact same as another. But for the demo, they definitely were nerfed on purpose, because if they, and who knows, maybe in the damage of the player, just what they were immune, because if for whatever reason they got killed, they would have had to restart that whole mission all over again. Although there was something in there that wasn't in the beginning, that if they hadn't have done it and they died, they would have had to do the whole thing. But in terms of the actual AI, the AI, I think just it was impossible to kill the actual player.
There was a point of the event where Chris said, "Oh shit!" If he didn't hurry up and do that, they would have ruined the whole
That pathway would
demo.
have been blown
the
away.
pathway would have been blown away, exactly.
Awesome.
Uber Nerd asks, do you think they'll have all the planets done for Stanton by December? No. I think they'll have some in there, but I don't think they'll have all of them.
I think at least
3.0 will
the
have all of them.
Yeah, I think
You think?
3.0 will have them all roughed out.
Really?
All the major bodies. Yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
ArcCorp?
That's the plan. Roughed out,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
If he continues to say it, then again, we're going to see the Squadron 42 demo, so I don't know what to fucking believe anymore. But as far as we know, that's what he said.
Okay.
We don't know if they're going to be fully feature-rich, but we know they're going to at least be roughed out and in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not
But
landable.
but
or
for now,
something?
my trust is I don't know what to believe anymore for the moment.
Harlequin Mask says, do you guys have your cruise planned out for your Polaris? Or are you going with an Android Revolution? I don't have a Polaris, so yes.
I'm pretty sure I have two people that I know will fly with me, and that's it.
That's all
and
you
it's
need.
Halal and Weirder Chimp, because
And are
they
they
always
in your
fly with
org
me. Everybody else
as well?
What's that?
Are they in your org as well?
No. Halal might be.
Interesting. And Bored?
Yeah.
What am I doing? What's going on? I spaced out again. I do that
Do you have
sometimes.
cruise planned for your Polaris?
No, because I don't have a Polaris.
Yeah, that's what I said too.
Yeah.
Next
That question was for only me. About
Yep.
time.
That
Thank
one
you.
should have just said you. Orange
but it
Owl
did.
asks, you get your own questions, although you don't have any coming up. They're just for me and Bored.
Yeah.
Orange Owl asks, if I set my status to hidden or redacted in an organization, I can hide being a member from other members. Do you think I can use the forum or chat with a synonym or antonym? Oh, do you think you can? No. I think just the org that you're hiding from, they just can't see what org you're in. But if you're trying to hide, like, you couldn't be public in one org and hide that from the org that you're redacted in. Whereas you can hide the redacted org from the org you're being public in. You gotta be sneaky with that. That's all up to you.
Hashtag sneaky.
Yep. Oxford SC asks, do you think Spectrum will allow people away from the game to authorize other organization members to use their ships? As this would add to gameplay. I think you just authorize them, and then
Potentially.
whether you're there or not, depending on the authorization levels that they have. So there could be some that you just authorize open to any org players, and they can just grab them. They're in your org. I think some may have to have you on board the ship. I think there'll be different levels as that comes in. I don't know what you guys think. But I mean, that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
I'll take it as that they agree with me then.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
In this one situation.
Yeah.
Mr. Yellow says, "Can't wait to see more org tools, like the way to see how many ships all the org members have together and so forth." Okay, not really a question, so we're gonna move forward.
Cool.
Screaming
Next.
Giraffe. Any news about when NPC crew members will be available? No news on that.
Real.
No.
No.
None at all.
NPC crew? No, it's not.
Oh
3.0.
no. But
No.
Subsumption.
I mean, I think that's a 2018 feature.
Yeah,
NPC crews
that's
in the PU.
after what we've seen and they've shown, I think.
But
Unless
NPC
for
wingmen look like sooner than later.
But yeah, that's Squadron 42
That's
thing.
Squadron
They're going to have
42.
crews on ships.
Yeah.
They're just not going to have them in the
But
PU
you
for
can't
ages.
control them.
Yeah.
You don't control
Got
those ones. Yeah. SA Bridges, should Storytime with Dad Lando be a regular thing? And
No.
could Dad Lando be the next
Leave
Redacted
the man
streamer?
alone.
Probably no to
Leave
both
the
of
poor
those.
man alone. He's a
let him do
legend,
his
but
thing.
I mean, I think he'd get tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some age discrimination right there, Board. I don't know.
I don't like putting anyone on the spot, and he obviously has got his own life.
Yeah.
Leave him alone. Leave Dad Lando alone.
I don't know. I think it's more. I want it more because it bothers Disco a little bit
I think
because he gets
yeah, I think
uncomfortable
that's,
because he doesn't know what his dad's gonna say or
and
something.
he can't control that. And he knows
Yeah.
more about Lando than anybody else.
Well, how about this? He kind of looks at Dad Lando like Dad Lando's about to take the picture book out and show him naked in the bathtub when he was a little kid to his girlfriend. That's the look that he
Yep.
gives.
And that's why we like
So.
Dad Lando stories.
Yeah.
Commander Riker asks, "Hey guys, you may have answered this already in the podcast, so please disregard if you have. Hearing about the official delay of Squadron 42 is expected, but hearing that some of the missions are not even in gray box yet." No, they said minimum gray box. So yeah. So I'm just gonna skip
Skip
this.
past that question. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Get out of here.
Zorky, what are your thoughts on the jetpack and/or parachutes? After playing some Osiris New Dawn, I realized a jetpack to an armor set would be amazing for planetary gameplay. In my mind, a form of jetpack and parachute are necessary for proper planetary gameplay. I don't know about jetpacks. I know that we have those things for moving around in space. I don't know if they're strong enough for gravity. And I think it takes away from vehicles if they have that in there. So
If you can just halo jump down into the distress signal,
yeah.
it does take away. You're right. There needs to be mechanics against that.
Yeah. I don't think the jetpacks, the parachutes, I think makes sense. Hollinger says, on a past podcast, I asked if you guys think we'll have a single system to play around in by the end of 2016, and you guys rightly predicted we would. Not too long after it was confirmed we'd have Stanton. My question this time, do you guys feel the same confidence about them finishing 4.0 by the end of next year?
By the end of next year? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Well, no,
yeah,
yes.
I think so. I think so.
Pipeline's going to be so fast now.
I think that adding the gameplay features they want to add in aren't as difficult as the things they need to add in for 3.0. So yes, I honestly do think that. And a lot of it is just asset stuff, for the most part.
For sure.
Anchor asks, do you think the Cutlass Black rework will come out between now and when the Cutlass Red and Blue come out? I think it's necessary for the rework to be done. For the Red and Blue to come out. I think they only mentioned the Red and Blue because the Cutlass Black isn't out. But yes, I think that the rework needs to be out for those to come out. Otherwise, there's no point in bringing them out.
Yeah, just because we can already fly the red or the black, I think is why it wasn't mentioned.
Yeah, I think it's
It's a
super important
rework.
that it's out.
For sure.
And I am excited.
I'm excited.
Nova Prime asks, knowing they're all completely separate roles, would you pick the 890 jump or the Polaris and why? And I think we talked about this before.
Before we go on,
890.
Matt Sherman confirmed Cutlass Black before the red or blue gets finalized.
Yeah,
so.
they can't talk about all the reworks in that
confirm.
list.
There.
Because there's
There you
only
go,
a few
because he
specs.
works directly with the Cutlass.
With Drake
With-
ships
with
and
Drake
design
ships.
and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
thanks, Matt.
I want the 890 jump so bad, and if anyone wants to give me one, you're more than welcome to. Do before I got given one. His fans are much better than mine.
Yeah.
It's not working, is it? No, it's not working.
That's not working.
We might as well give Noob a little plug. He's doing some massive giveaways on his channel, and we didn't really have time to do like a good perfect plug this week. So
Noobify is giving
Keep an
away
eye
an
out.
890 jump and wouldn't rig it for me. How shitty a
Rude.
friend is he?
what a dick.
Yeah, I know, right? Just unsubscribe.
You didn't.
Yeah.
You just need to. You need to throw a little monetary things.
Yeah.
Then maybe he'll rig it.
Maybe
Just
it will.
kidding. No, but Nova Prime asks 890 jump or Polaris, and why? I'm gonna say the Polaris because it actually has more functionality.
More
than
gameplay.
An 890 jump. Like, while an 890 jump is cool for me, the only reason I would use an 890 jump would be personally as a trap for to catch other pirates and steal their shit.
I think the 890 jump is going to be a lot more effective than people think. I think it's going to be an amazing
I don't think
exploration
it's gonna
ship.
be as good as a Polaris.
I think it's just a different role.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
I
think
love the idea of an 890 jump. I like the idea of cruising around. It's going to have super high tech levels. I want it. I just want one.
Mm-hmm.
I want a hot tub, not in the Phoenix. I want an 890 jump. I want to be surrounded in blackjack and space hookers.
Whiskey Wing asks, or Twerk, what did you say, 890 or Polaris?
Polaris.
No class.
Whiskey Wing asks, do you think they're overestimating the percentage of pilots to non-pilot players in the user base? It seems like a complicated problem from a game mechanics standpoint, ancient smithing in, etc., and simply how many people are available for crewing at one time. Just because there's 2,000 players sold doesn't mean there's going to be 2,000 players flying at the same time.
We're only
That's
seeing
all.
a fraction of the player base at the moment. Those 1.5 million citizens, or however many it is, that's a fraction of what it's going to be when the game gets released or gets closer to release. So we're going to see hopefully
There's
15
still-
million.
Yeah,
And
so many more.
Tony Z gave a pretty detailed description of what NPC crews on larger ships would be like. So it's really not that complicated to fly one on your own. It doesn't seem like.
There is going to be a bit of not going to be as efficient as having a fully trained actual player crew though, which will be awesome in itself.
Jiru Sin asks, would you be interested in a slider that determines the amount of music that is played? You can always have background music or rarely get any music, only at poignant moments in the game. Yes, that would be something I would be interested in.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
some
personally
people
I want his music playing all the time.
Yeah,
I want to
same.
hear Pedro's
but
music
some
at all
people
times.
only want it when there's something crazy going on, so it can like, sort of maybe it gives that much more immersion. But for me, I always want something in the background going on. So I think that would
Yep.
be a good idea if it's easily implemented. Our next question comes from Wolf OCE. You discussed CitizenCon at CitizenCon or SitCon, the VR entry in the hangar. Do you think they could have a game room with an LSR to access EA until we get hangars in the PU? We do have that. We have the SimPod. Is that what you're asking? Yeah, we have the SimPods.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, maybe I misinterpret your question, but yeah, SimPod. I don't know why this is set to Boredgamer, so fuck him. Everybody else but him is going to answer it. Since your first reaction, have you changed your estimation on Squadron 42 finish date? Sounds closer to fourth quarter 2017 with that much content. They say that much content in Greybox. We don't know how much is in Greybox. We know that minimum it's all in Greybox.
Yeah.
So, I don't know about fourth quarter, but I think that it's further along than we all expected.
If you watch the demo, there was a section, and you can kind of assume somewhere based on watching the demo where Squadron might land. And he talks about 3.0, he talks about 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, and so on. And then at some point in there, he starts talking about, well, after Squadron comes out, we'll start working on these bigger ships. So when the bigger ships start coming in, that's when Squadron would have come out previously, and you have to assume at least 2 months in between each patch, at least. And for things like 3.0 and
Well,
when they bring
he's
in
talking about Squadron 42, which is on its separate.
Yeah, but he's asking when it is going to be released, and I think you can kind of deduce when it might be released based on the the Star Citizen 3132, all that stuff, and when the bigger ships start
guess.
coming in.
Yeah.
And you can kind of make your own sort of timeline in your head that way. I don't think it'll be end of 2017. Still think it'll be first or second quarter.
Yeah, I'm
And I'm
leaning towards
optimistic.
second or
Probably more
third
like
quarter.
second.
Second, third
Yeah.
quarter is where I'm sort of leaning for that. Bordover asks, are there any, and I like how Boredgamer didn't have an answer to that, and we're continuing. Are there any other plans to reduce the graphical fidelity of Arena Commander and Star Marine to reinforce the idea of being a simulation? You like the idea of AC being less than reality of the PU, whether it's overall lower fidelity, ship object outlines, or anything to indicate that seeing is in the real world and make you want to spend more time outside the simulation? We do have that already in Arena Commander with the little points thing that pops up, with the incoming of the grid, with the achievements that are going to come in. All of that stuff is going to make it very clear.
There'll be pickups and stuff. You'll know it's a simulation because there's scoreboards and stuff, but they're not going to physically reduce or put glitches in on stuff. They're not going to do that. They want everything to look as beautiful as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we have a question from P. Gillings. Will Gold Horizon still be a map when Star Marine comes out in 2.6? Don't believe so.
I think they'll probably,
that's not one of the maps.
Probably do something with it in the future, though.
They may.
I think Gold Horizon's dead.
They may have scrapped it entirely.
It really feels like they did away with a lot of what Ilphonic did. So Gold Horizon was one of those things.
Wolf OCE asked, did they ever mention the changes to netcoding? I'm just concerned with ping issues with Star Marine. The new netcode.
Didn't really talk about it at all at
I
CitizenCon.
don't think they did at all. No, I was hoping that we would hear more about it, but I think it
just needs to get
still
done.
aligned with 3.0.
Yeah.
I think that all they would be able to say with it would be Star Network makes the game good, or something like that. There's not much they can tell us other than it's better.
I think at first we're not going to see more players or anything like that. We're just going to try and get the frame rates to where they need to be, and then start adding more players and stuff like that.
You might see that fixed in the PTUs, though. They might get the frame rates down in the PTU and then go extra players. That's what I'm hoping.
Not sure how that's going to work. Civ 13. So I've heard if you own a multiple cruise ship, you will be able to hire NPCs to fill positions. So if you don't have enough people, you can still fly at full strength. What have you heard about this? Yes, you can. They've said that multiple times. That you can do it by yourself with NPCs. They just won't be as effective as players necessarily. Although I think that if you spend enough, you may be able to get pretty close to that. But it's going to cost you a shit ton of money to hire the really good pilots or good player NPCs.
Or at least take you a lot of time to find those NPCs. They're like rare Pokemon.
And if they die, they're dead.
Well, they've talked about possibly insuring your crewmen as well. So your officers, your really high-level crewmen, you might have to insure in the future.
Right. Okay. Simple.cuz asks, should we expect other ships to be released this year that were not announced at CitCon? For instance, the Redeemer was recently assigned a team. Do you think it's possible we see it and other ships being worked on this year that they just can't confirm to date? Possibly.
Who said it was assigned with a team?
I don't know who said it was assigned to a team.
That's news to me.
But I think that we're
I've heard
obviously
something
going
about
to
that,
see.
actually.
It does sound familiar, to be honest.
It was asked about, and I think they know they want to put it with
But
the kid that works there that made it, and he's making other ships.
How about this? Barring
That's what was talked
the specific
about,
Redeemer, barring the specific Redeemer, I do think that they're going to get ships done that aren't on those timelines.
But I would also say don't expect it, because literally the reason they're not on that timeline is because
they don't
know.
How about
Probably.
this? Do you actually think they're going to hit all the markers on those timelines? Because I don't either. Things get pushed back between patches,
and things get pushed forward as well all the time.
Yeah, like procedural planets.
I think that's probably quite a conservative estimate of 2017. For them.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So I hope, I'd hope it would be. I do think that they are obviously more worried and working on Squadron 42 to get the polish to maximum, and they'll want to make sure that they can get as much polishing as they can before they have to kind of release it now. And as soon as that's done, I think all the rest of that stuff is significantly easier.
Yeah.
Now, Wolf OCE asked a question about netcoding again, even though we just answered it, but there is another question in here that is relevant, I think. So he says, did they ever mention the changes to netcoding? And we just talked about that. Nope. However, I'm just concerned with ping issues with Star Marine. And I think that if you look at Arena Commander is a better analogy to Star Marine than the Persistent Universe. And I think it's going to be even better because you have less things going on. You have less of the physics grids. You have less of the stuff going on with the ships. It's just characters and the character stuff. So I think we're going to have less of ping issues with Star Marine, especially on things like the 4v4 map, where I think it's going to run amazing. And it should be fine. It's just going to be determined on how far away you are. And there are going to be some ping issues that are going to be unresolvable no matter what. It doesn't matter how amazing the netcode is, because it depends on how your computer talks to the servers and that network that you're on that they have no control over. So I think that with Star Marine coming in, even if it comes in before the new netcode stuff, it's going to be infinitely times better than what it is now in Security Post Korea.
For sure.
I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to that.
No, I agree 100% with that, especially the 4v4.
Civ13 I've heard if you own a multiple cruise ship, you'll be this got put in twice. Try not to ask questions twice, please.
Oh, you monster.
What is your opinion of having radar for FPS, IDD? I think that it makes sense. You have enough technology that you should. I think that...
And they talked about doing it by sound.
Yeah,
as well,
so
yeah.
It would be a sonar thing. I think that you should know where all of your teammates are at any given time, because you guys should be connected via the interwebs. But I think, or whatever they call it in the future, by your mobile glass or whatever. But I think that for your characters, I think that if you can see them or you can hear them, that you should be able to see them on your radar. Moving.
I like the idea that there might be EMP weapons and Joker tech weapons that might disable your ability to see your friends for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, like there may be things that could affect that one way or another. But I think in general, that's how it should sort of work.
You've got to remember that a radar isn't just a good thing. You can use it to juke people. I mean, you can set up traps with it. There might even be you can literally set up traps so you can have one person moving around making a lot of noise to draw people in.
Or
there
you
also
could have
might
it
be
as like a beacon, and it's actually a bomb.
Exactly, a beacon, bombs, Joker technology
stab
stuff.
somebody and it blows you up instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple.cuz, should we expect other ships to be released this year? Oh, this once again, guys. Make sure you're only asking this question once. Now I have to go ahead and read ahead. Okay. Wolf OCE asks, I wonder if during the next big event before 3.0, that if we'll get to see Terra Prime since it's coming in 3.0. I'm surprised it wasn't shown in 3.0. And that's one of those things that I think they could have possibly shown at this event as a backup footage, but they didn't. I don't know how far along they are on it.
But they didn't.
But they didn't. We know that there is some of that asset in there based on that that model we saw. I think it was in the last podcast or the one before we showed it. So I don't know what they're going to show in the next big events. Hopefully Squadron 42 in before Christmas time. But even then, who knows?
Cross our fingers.
Matt Track asks, what do you guys think about the low player count in the new Star Marine? It feels to me like the netcode is the old one, or perhaps they didn't manage to get a bigger improvement on the new one. Thanks for the show. It's coming in before.
I think that comes down to gameplay.
Well,
it's coming in before the netcode. That's a really good point. And I think it comes down to gameplay balance and all that stuff. Games like Battlefield have been around forever that have the 64-player maps, and I think they got their game balance figured out pretty well, and their map balance and all that stuff. This is the first implementation. I think it's kind of smart to start small and then build up from there.
Build as time goes on.
Yeah.
Instead of just going in balls to the wall, not really knowing what the meta is going to be or what's going on. You got to get the players in there and then go from there.
Definitely.
Anric asks, if you take a stolen vehicle ship and you're in the UAE, will you have to hand it back into the authorities? I can see if you're a pirate, it doesn't matter, but someone that's law-abiding, you got to hand it back in or pay a fee to transfer the license. I don't know how that mechanic's going to work, or why you taking ships.
I think that's more going to be that you find a derelict ship or a ship that someone's been killed on, and that you will get a finder's fee for finding it from the insurance company or something, maybe. It's a
good point. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe
like
something like that. If you're law abiding, you go.
You're
"I
giving
found a
it back.
ship."
You're not paying a fee to
Yeah.
give a ship back. Yeah.
Critical Danny, seeing how the game is in alpha stage and already has the frame rate with optimizations they've been making, and the current problem is the netcode, don't you think that not many games even let their players see the alpha frame rate they're trying to aim at?
Yes.
Obviously,
You don't even
there's
see
all
the game,
There's
let
lots
alone
of
the
games
frame
you
rates
don't
that
even
they're
hear
getting.
about until E3, and then they're ready to launch for Christmas time.
And normally
Yeah.
those E3 demos are super heavily scripted and in incredibly enclosed environments. The Star Citizen ones are normally done at least.
And they
At the
don't
very
even
least
talk about
live.
frame rates until
that-
the game is about to be launched or is already launched. Look at a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
games. Look at Mafia 3, for example. When it launched, I think there's been a patch
Fucking
since
horrible.
then. But when it was launched, there had to be a day one patch for it to get,
Do you think?
or afterward, to get 60 frames a second.
Do you think that they should do all of these demos live that they Star Citizen do?
Yes.
All of them, yeah.
They want to show
That's
the
the whole
game the
point.
way it's
They
going to
want to
get
show
played.
behind the curtains.
Open development, man. Open development.
I
Don't
just think that
fucking
maybe
hide
they
this
should
shit.
have a backup video of them playing it from earlier. If for some reason they can't get it working at the time.
Yeah,
just-
like for example, some of the videos that are on the YouTube now, they're better.
I think they
Yeah,
should
better quality.
still release ones like that, like polished, perfect ones.
Mhm.
But I
Which
think
they do,
should
because
also
that's
show
what the masses
both.
are seeing, right,
Yeah,
Soros?
I think they should see both.
Like there were 30,000 people watching or 35 or something like that, watching the live stream,
Mhm.
but that YouTube video is going to get millions of views.
I don't see the necessity to do everything live. I mean, some of the stuff done live is pretty cool, and yeah, that's good that they do it live. But not, I think they try and do too much live, like showing the Planet Edge tools live. I thought that could have been a separate video, but I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Tank House Mob asks, in an interview a couple months ago, Chris Roberts said there would not be a traditional crafting system in Star Citizen. Traditional, what do you think he means by this? Without crafting as an option, the player to create new items. What is the motivation to mine materials and in turn purchase pirate mine materials beside the obviously play for fun dynamic? I'm wondering how the game major motivators will be affected by the lack of traditional crafting system. Does this mean there is simply a fixed set of items a player can purchase? What do you guys think? So it means that there isn't a Minecraft crafting system, period, the end. Hands down, you're not going to be creating ships or making buildings or any of that nonsense or creating materials to create other things. That's not going to be in there. The mining stuff is strictly for economy and what is needed by the verse to create other things. So the verse creates the ships. The verse creates the buildings, creates the all of
Yeah.
that stuff. The players don't create those things.
Factories and companies on planets that you sell the materials to make the stuff to will create it. So there is a crafting system technically. You're just not the one crafting it in your backpack in the game.
Yeah, you're not the one doing that. So what's going to happen is
But
it's a supply and demand thing, and the whole
Yeah.
purchase, the whole reason behind it is a monetary thing. Just like World of Warcraft, for example, right? You don't have your traditional crafting system, but there's still mining and gathering and all of that stuff. Then you take it somewhere and then do that thing or whatever it is that you do with that, or you sell the raw materials or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's, I think they're going more towards that route than the Minecraft or DayZ route where you craft things. Zorky asks, what are your thoughts on those new improved landing gear? Do you agree that it's such a minor detail yet such a big thing that will affect gameplay more than one can imagine? So I think you're talking about the shock absorption thing. I don't
It
know what
looked
else
pretty meh.
I think it was also just the first pass. It didn't look as good as it's going to look at the end of it. But it's one of those things. It's just like the flags, just like the materials, that it's something that adds to it without it being a huge thing. I think it's more of an animation thing. I don't think it changes any gameplay at all. I think it's just how it's just something there for immersion.
Immersion.
Our next question is from Kandarihu, and he says, with so many systems being implemented in the game taking shape, do you think that the release of Alpha 3.0 will mark the point where the development will start feeling like a downhill process as opposed to an uphill process?
I think we might have
Not-
already hit that point.
I don't think so.
I
Not
don't
yet.
think so either. I'm hoping that once we see 3.0, then it's just we see a lot more assets coming in and like clothing and just weapons
For me,
and
for me,
everything. just
Gamescom was that.
snowballing.
It was it's the stuff they showed at Gamescom, and now that we've seen the
But we
stuff at
haven't
CitizenCon.
seen any of that in game. We haven't been able to play any of
Okay.
that yet in game. And
Yeah,
I don't
okay, more
care what
hands-on.
they show us. For me, what's important is what we actually have our hands on. And right now, it still feels like we're doing that uphill battle towards 3.0. And I'm hoping that 3.0 is when we start to actually snowball. It feels like
Yeah,
right now
yeah,
we're
so-
just sort of collecting the snow to make it into a snowball, and climbing up that hill. And then 3.0 is when we can actually start rolling it on the ground and making that.
I think it's a
back
little
of the weather.
past 3.0 actually. Like
It
when they
may
bring
even
in
be past 3.
the mining and salvage, then to be honest, it's gonna feel more
Yeah.
like rolling downhill because you're gonna be able to play the game and not give a shit
But I think
about
with 3.0,
how long
because of
development
how
takes.
much stuff there is in, even with just one planet, being able to explore stuff, even if it's very empty, and this stuff will feel like it's coming in more and more and more because there's just so much stuff that's going to be. It's a whole planet, right? Or multiple planets and moons that we have to land on. So I think there's going to be a lot to explore than what we have now, when most of it is
True.
empty space and a couple space stations. Uber Nerd asks, should they make ships earnable in Arena Commander public only, but just for the Arena Commander and not the verse? That way you start out with a basic ship in Arena Commander, and the more you earn, the more you buy and play in AC public. I think we're going to see that with rental equipment currency.
I think
I
all
think-
ships should be earned, even in the private. Personally, I think they
All
should just
ships
be
should be earned.
allowed.
Yeah.
I think you should be allowed to buy most of them, like the limited ones for private, but I still think you should have to earn them. It's a video game. Make it more of a video game.
Right.
Give
How
us
how
things to
I
go
mean,
after.
I hate to break people's podcast immersion, but we are an hour and 10 minutes over.
Uh-huh.
How much longer are we going?
We have like 10 questions.
Okay.
So we're going to finish
Let's
the
hit them up
questions.
because yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
just
Lightning
wanna get
rounds.
them done.
Okay.
The new org interface. This is asked by Carlos R72. The new org interface they talked about sounded interesting. What do you think about it? During that, they said something about being more than one org for different types of activities. What do you think more than this one org stuff? You can be in 10 orgs.
Yeah.
So be in
Or
10
more.
orgs.
10,000 orgs.
Well, right
you-
now you can be in 10.
Oh.
I don't know how many. So
All the orgs.
we
I mean,
know you'll
obviously,
be
we
in-
think it's awesome. We want to use it. It's new and interesting ways of
Yeah.
doing things
And I think
than from what
they're-
we are now. But
they're going to find ways that you can do things like how we want to do Redacted within that system. And if there's
Yeah.
people that want to do that, I'm sure they'll find a way to do that for us to use their system. Otherwise, we're going to have to go to an outside system, and they probably don't want that just as much as we don't want
Yep.
that. Zenowin asks, what are your thoughts on the chat client and how it relates to Discord? We know a lot of orgs have to use Ventrilo and Mumble because they don't have the ability to talk to different raid groups and listen to multiple channels and other MMOs. Do you think the Star Citizen client will force Discord to add those features before Star Citizen include those features in their client? Do you think that video will be incorporated into the client as well, so you can make your calls from your tablet to someone's game and have your face show up on the ship display or Mobiglass? That's
That would
something
be
that
cool.
I talked about with Twerk. I was kind of surprised they didn't say anything about video. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily in or out. In how it relates to Discord, Discord is just so much bigger than just Star Citizen, though. And
Yeah.
and we're never going to get rid of Discord because not all of us, like maybe I only play Star Citizen, but maybe in the future that's not the only case. And same with Twerk and the rest of the Redacted. There's a time and place, I think, for the Spectrum, and I think same goes with Discord. And I think Spectrum is very much for the Star Citizen only specific stuff, whereas Discord we can have for more of like our announcements and everything else overall. And I think they're both important. And if you want that information, ! Discord and chat. Feel free to join ours. This is where all of our content creators are, as well as all of our viewers are, where we talk about things and all that other stuff. Little plug for Discord there.
I think with Spectrum and those features, it's great that we're in an open development process where that you can have your say and influence the direction that will go and the community will. So any feature that is reasonable and useful will get put in at some point.
Shimmerblade, what do you expect from holiday CIG stream? Any big surprises? Squadron 42. If I don't see Squadron 42 by the holiday, I know they were
I hope we
aiming
see it
for it
before
for
then.
this. It better be before then.
Yeah, if they're saying not
And
quite for this and they
they
don't
better
show it
have-
then, it's kind
They
of like,
also
what the
should
fuck?
have at least some sort of idea of a release date by then. Because those are the things that we were really expecting and we didn't get for this because that's what they were hyping up. Tamarind asks, in your opinion, will we be able to access a lot of buildings in cities? Yes, I think so. I think that's what their plan is. I think that's what they want to do with their city generation, and they've shown some of that on ATV with their building generation and stuff like that. So yes, I think so. There's a question here that was answered last cast. I'm going to answer it real quick. Is there any word on new content or bug fix patch between now and 2.6? Yes, we heard them talk about it with the new flight models and all that other stuff.
We don't know if that's going to be coming out for a live build or if they're going to go straight to 2.6 though. We don't know.
We don't know.
They
but
kind of hinted that they
I think
wanted
they
to push
hinted
it to
it's
everybody
coming
on ATV.
as soon as possible. Jack Assery said, will it be possible to rent lease ships from other citizens in game? They've said yes. If so, might it be possible to operate more efficiently renting ships than owning and maintaining them? Yeah, that's something
What
I know
Clifford wants to do, isn't
Clifford wants to do. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people with large fleets want to do either as on a personal basis or in an org style basis. Rampage 917X asks, what do you guys think about the players complaining about the constellation visibility from the cockpit? Here's a link to the discussion. I'm not opening that. If one of you guys want to share that in chat, feel free.
Yeah.
But players complaining about constellation visibility from the cockpit, I mean, you have to have some sort of realism like that, right? Wait until the Caterpillar comes in, man. I'm telling you right now, as much as I love the Caterpillar and whatever, there's going to be visibility issues. People are going to complain, and it's because it's going to be off to the side, and the Caterpillar is going to cover some of it or whatever. That's part of the design. That's part of the it can't all be perfect and can't all have perfect visibility. There's got to be pros and cons to everything. And I think just like that, it's part of it. Same with the Aurora or same with whatever.
The visibility thing as well. I mean, lots of people are going to be using the HUDs and their helmet radars and targeting stuff. You don't actually need to see, genuinely, you don't need to see any of space. You could literally have a wall there, and then just as long as you can see asteroids through it and your enemy,
exactly.
you
And
don't
remember
actually
that
need to see.
the pilot just needs to see what the pilot needs to see, especially on multi-crew ships. Let alone, there's going to be a cap, like just even on the Starfarer, you have captain chairs, you have all this other stuff as well that are going to be in other parts of the ship. So it's part of the design, and I believe they have that in mind. DevVT asks, what patch do you think will have the ability to purchase ships in the PU with AUEC? Probably with 3.
They don't mention it in any of them,
they
which
don't
weirds me out.
mention it at all, because I don't think they know when they want it to come in, but I think it's going to be, hopefully, I hope it's coming in sooner rather than later. The mechanic is available there. It just depends on how they do it. They could do it just right now, the same way how you buy weapons and armor and all that other stuff. They could do it. The mechanic is there. It's just a matter of them implementing it. Jessicles McGee asks, what do you think the mood is at CIG after what it must just have been a big disappointment for them? As for the supporters, with respect to not having Squadron 42 shown ready to show at CitizenCon, I think they're just as disappointed that they weren't able to get it ready as we are. After
I
talking,
do think that I think they were celebrating the victory of the demo.
No, I think talking to the devs at CitizenCon,
They were upset.
And wanted us specifically, I had multiple devs from multiple departments come up to me and make sure that we brought these things up on the podcast because they do pay attention to the podcast. And I think they were equally disappointed and didn't know whether they were going to show the Squadron 42 stuff. I know that sitting with people and talking with people and whatever, they were excited they didn't show it because of what the state that it was in, but were also disappointed that it wasn't in a state to show because it got hyped up for that. They were unsure what was going on, but they wanted us to make sure that we talked about it. So I think that they were equally, if not more, disappointed than the backers were on where it is and sort of how it's been presented to us coming up to it.
Yeah, I had the same experience. So
yeah, I think everybody had the same experience who was actually there.
Source and I weren't together a lot of the time.
Source rubbing it in. Who people that are actually there
well,
know more
it's,
than you, Bored.
well,
honey.
It's hard.
Yes, I knew it was going to happen. Green screen down.
Oh, I've broken it. Broke it, guys. It's not.
And-
It's staying down. It's
Bug it.
There's
well,
only 3
staying
questions
down.
left, anyways. There's been a lot.
Okay.
This is from Pennywise72. There's been a lot of talk about procedural planets. Should it really
Yeah.
be called procedural planets since it's more like artist made, which is incorrect. They are procedural. Then again, it will never get as bad as No Man's Sky with planets looking the same and just the same coloring as differences. The follow-up question is how many planets will be at launch? So, first thing is they are created procedurally. They're just hand-picked. They use the procedural generation to create them, and then they go through and touch them up afterwards. Whereas with there is they aren't just created based off of a seed randomly, right? It's not just unlimited planets. It's not what they want to do. They're created first, then they go through and do a pass over them or several passes over them to give them what they want. It's not like No Man's Sky where it's just a seed and then it just bases off that seed without any sort of quality control or QA process.
Yeah, and the quick answer is not quite 110 is what Chris said. So
Yeah.
they have 110 on the
110
map.
systems.
Not quite 110.
It's not 110
at their
planets.
release is
No,
word for word.
they said they wanted a good chunk of them completed by then.
Okay, so let's even say
Good
they
chunk.
have 50. Let's say they have half in, or even a quarter. Let's say they have 25 systems in. I'm sure they want to have anywhere from 2 to 5 planets, or 2 to 8 planets per system. So do the math. And that's kind of what they want at launch. Anchor 4073 asks, "Where's the best place to follow updates about the Cutlass that maybe you won't see on the main website, Twitter, Facebook, etc.?" Here, on Twerk's channel, my channel, Board's channel. We have guys like Matt Sherman and Randy Vasquez and all the other guys that are involved with that stuff that you won't see anywhere else. We do get some of the first-hand stuff in our Twitch channels and on our YouTube comments. So definitely check those places. And last but not least, Guns and Glue asks, "Do you think there will ever be able to have a factory ship to produce ship components in deep space combat missions to support the Crucible? Or will you need to find a planet to raid for components so your Crucible can replace damaged ship components?" I think we're going to see at the very beginning factories on planets and space stations, but I don't see later on down the road how we wouldn't be able to have a ship that produces them for you.
Yeah.
It's not something they have planned for right now, but I think later on after release, that's something that could definitely come in as a new mechanic where it's like you can produce ship or repair pieces in there. I think the way that they are doing repair, though, at the moment is more of a 3D printed thing, right? Where you are just needed the actual raw materials and then it 3D prints on the Crucible or whatever, and that's sort of how it works. Instead of having to prefabricate the materials, it just prints it out. That's my understanding of how they've explained the repair mechanic to us.
Yeah, otherwise
anyways.
you'd have to have huge cargo holds of pre-made components.
It just
which would
makes
be-
more sense with how we have 3D printing now with different materials. Why wouldn't they have that in the future with
Yeah, that
on a
makes sense.
larger
Yeah.
scale?
My entire world fell down Gyro Alley. I wasn't actually in a bar. I was in my room the whole time. So one of the few lies that Redacted will tell you. Saurus isn't in a factory. Twerk isn't in a hangar.
I don't know
It's all
who
lies.
just wrote that, but talk about it.
Matt Sherman asked you that question.
No, I don't. I remember, but I do remember. And I did, but I don't want to talk about it because I wasn't that sure if that was something you were ready to share or not.
But he broke NDA with you. He can't trust you.
Yeah, I'm not. If you want to talk about it, you can bring it up. Those kind of conversations, I just assume are off the record.
Yeah.
So if that's something you want to
I'm
bring up,
kidding around.
I'd rather you bring it up in the channel, and I'm saying that to.
He said the
That's
end
right.
of Squadron 42. That's what he told him. He told him the whole story.
What?
That was
No,
one of the
that's-
fun for public
no,
bits. Go ahead. So you could say it. He said you could say it.
I'm not. That's not what he just asked, though. You just said something. No. He said, question about the Cutlass.
Yeah, and then he said, "Oh yeah, that was one of the fun for public bits I got cleared before the show, so you could talk about it."
Okay. So the Cutlass. All right, here we go.
There you go. He just said it.
All right, so the back is a lot wider than what it is now, and it's going to be able to fit things in there. So I'm hoping that means
he said the dragonfly.
Did he say the?
He said it in the chat. Read the fucking chat.
I can't see. I don't have it open. I can't.
He doesn't have eyes.
Pro streamer confirmed. We're building it to support the dragonfly being deployable from the interior.
There you go. There you go. Woo!
Cool.
He didn't say the dragonfly. He just what he specifically told me was that it was wider in the back, and so they could fit more stuff in there. And it was one of the big complaints was that it was too narrow. So now it's wide. And I assumed, I don't remember him saying specifically about the dragonfly, but I assumed that meant the dragonfly. Anyways.
Yeah.
There we go.
You heard it here first, boys.
There you go. So those are the kind of things that I'm talking about that are exclusive to our channels that sometimes they get clearance for, sometimes I don't know, but they get set on our channels. So definitely make sure you're in my channel, Twerk's channel, or Board's channel. And the rest of the guys on the Redacted, which you can find on the Redacted team, which is if you click on the Redacted. Beside Twerk17 is playing Star Citizen on Redacted. But that is that. We managed to get all the questions in and everything in a reasonable time.
Yeah, it was so reasonable, mate. So reasonable.
For post-CitizenCon.
Let's do it. Let's do that again. Let's go an hour over. Yeah,
hour and a half
every week.
I was
CitizenCon every week. 3.5 hours. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Hope you're having a great time.
Feel free to put it up as a two-parter board, if that makes you feel better.
Thanks, Cyrus. No, that's all right. That just takes more work. I'll just do some more work.
Yeah.
Do you want me to run your channel for you?
Link all the things we were talking about as well.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, why don't we go over what we're up to and where everybody can find us? Starting with you, Twerk. Where are you up to and where can people find you?
What I'm up to this week, I don't know, probably playing a little Star Citizen, continue to talk about the demo. Gonna play some other games this week. I don't know what they're gonna be yet. What else am I gonna do? I'm gonna get my giveaway stuff squared away and put new videos up in my intermission screen. So that's what I'm doing.
Right on.
Yeah.
And where can people find you?
You can find me here on twitch.tv/ I was going to say /Star Citizen, but twitch.tv/Twerk17. Hit the follow button below if you haven't yet. And thank you for the cheer, guys. The people are throwing cheer in the chat. I appreciate that. And then at Twerk17 Gaming on Twitter, as well as the at Twerk17 Gaming, I guess, on YouTube. So you can look up Twerk17 Gaming on YouTube. I just put up the vlog from CitizenCon there today. So, and hopefully some other stuff soon.
Right on. And Boredgamer, what are you up to? And where can people find you?
So people can find me on pretty much all the mediums: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube is my main area of space. At Boredgamer UK, and it's pretty much all Star Citizen content. Although I will be talking to people about playing some games, possibly with CIG employees, such as Terraria and 7 Days to Die and stuff in the future. Just playing games and having a good laugh rather than talking much about Star Citizen, because they're people too. And this week I'm going to be doing stuff on the Star Engine, talking about that, just general analysing of the demo that we've just seen, talk about the future, all the basic stuff. I stream on Tuesdays and Sundays as well now, so you can catch me there. It's only for a few hours. On Sundays it's just after Twerk. On Tuesdays it's instead of Twerk's time. But I would like to also encourage people to check out our Redacted Patreon. And if they haven't already, if they are Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime users, you get a free sub to use every month for your favourite streamer. It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's Twerk or Saurus, it has to be a partnered streamer. That's why I thought I could bring it up rather than them. Just give it to someone, because you change it every month. It genuinely helps them out, like it's a real sub
don't waste
to their
it.
channel.
Whether if it's even not on one of the two of us, don't waste
it. Someone you like watching, genuinely subscribe to them because it helps them out to no end.
But don't give it to Saurus, just give it to me.
Yeah, or just wait for me to get partnered and just give them all to me. But yeah, so we're going to be looking more at that CitizenCon demo, obviously, and That's probably the main thing, I suppose, because that's quite exciting still at the moment.
Yeah.
What about you, Soros? What are you up to?
Did you cover where everybody can find you?
Yeah, at Boredgamer UK on all the mediums. And I'll say that again, Boredgamer UK.
There we go. And it's exclamation
Like
point
and
board gamer in
subscribe.
chat.
Go ahead.
And for me, coming up, obviously, I'm going to be streaming right after this. So stick around. We're going to be going over some stuff. And as always, I'm going to be doing Star Citizen content moving forward.
You're going to be on your channel. I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Yeah,
real quick.
on twitch.tv/WTFasaurus and on twitter.com/WTFasaurus. Also, you can find us on the Discord, which is exclamation point Discord. And I'm going to bring up a couple things here. We do have our Patreon right there. So if you do enjoy the podcast or you do enjoy all the content creators and stuff like that, this helps us do a lot of things that we want to do with that. Also, same with the Redacted t-shirt, which we just put up last week. And once again, remember that this is going to give you also exclusive entry into any of the Redacted events we do in the future at any of the cons and things like that that we're going to be at. Make sure to check out our website, redacted.tv. There's always awesome content going up there, and we are redoing this here in the near future. We're making some changes. We did just get back. We did just get back, so there's a lot of things going on. And last but not least, we have the Redacted team, where you can go and check out all the Redacted members. Go give them a follow. Click on their name, and you can give them a follow right from here. I want to say thank you to everybody who came by, and a huge shout out once again to Antlion Audio for helping to sponsor the podcast. And check out the giveaway that we are doing in conjunction with them by typing in exclamation point headset.
Woo!
And we are also doing a monthly Redacted giveaway, exclamation point monthly in chat. Follow the links to that. Thank you so much, guys, and we will see you next week.
Next week.
On
Thanks, Jonas,
Redacted,
guys.
and I'll see you guys right after this. I'll be on in about 5 minutes. All right, guys, take care and bye.
See you, guys.